Naruto, the rise of the Uzumaki Clan. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction. So don't try any techniques you hear here in real life, your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 201. I'll earn money to support you. 1899. A black-haired boy supported himself on the ground with one hand, muttering, 1,900. 100 more to go, 1,901. The boy continued his physical training, muttering, I wonder if I can graduate if I train like this? Then, a silly grin appeared on his face. I don't think I've even been to school. How could I possibly graduate? He didn't notice an old man leaning on a cane standing behind him. Madara quietly watched Zilu training in front of him, a cold smile appearing on his lips. This world is ultimately a world of geniuses. A bloodline limit, a pair of eyes, might be enough to instantly turn a Jonin into a Jonin, or even a cage. In Madara's eyes, how could he not see that this brat in front of him couldn't even unleash ninjutsu? This kind of person basically has no hope of becoming a ninja. Because taijutsu lacks staying power. Even he, who is unparalleled in the world, cough cough, a taijutsu genius, must combine it with ninjutsu to dominate the ninja world. So, kid, give up. Madara sneered. You can't become a ninja if you can't release ninjutsu. Who? Zilu did a backflip to her feet, but seeing an old man behind her who needed a cane to walk, she lowered her guard and cheerfully said, Old man, why aren't you going home so late? She was getting old after all. Madara was silent for a moment, then shook his head and said, Don't worry about me. Taijutsu may have an advantage in the early stages, but if you lack the stamina to release chakra, you'll only ever achieve Jonin. Plus, Madara glanced at the training marks around him and knew that this kid had been training here for quite some time. Long-term strenuous exercise will cause serious damage to your body. You might not even have the chance to use crutches in the future. How, I know. Ziluo scratched the back of her head and said, Brother Kita told me the same thing, but... Lord Sun said. Ziluo's face showed a determined expression, if you give up on yourself, then you really have no chance. I believe I will definitely become an amazing ninja. You, a ninjutsu idiot, actually believe the words of a genius who became Kage at 7 years old. Madara suddenly felt a bit of a stomachache. Is this kid out of his mind? Whatever. Madara shook his head and decided not to say anything more. He now had only one wish, to bring true peace to the ninja world. Everything else was irrelevant to him. Just as Madara turned around, intending to lean on his cane and go back to wait for Tobi to come home and cook, Madara heard the noise behind him again and stopped. He sighed inwardly. He and Hashirama seemed to have trained in the same way back then, and even trained very late. At that time, the Senju and Uchiha clans were enemies. But the only difference was that they were both geniuses, while that fool was just a good-for-nothing. But Madara turned to look at the boy still training and said helplessly, You shouldn't use your strength like that. Orochimaru, tell me, why did you do this? Jiraiya grabbed Orochimaru by the collar and roared, You actually went to challenge 3 ninja villages. And, damn it, 2 of the 5 great ninja villages were among them. Do you think you're the god of the ninja world? Let go. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya, a wry smile on his face. It wasn't me who provoked them. Didn't you hear anything when you got back? It's like this. Jiraiya, after hearing this, released his grip and said apologetically, I was rushed here by the old man as soon as I returned to Konoha, so I didn't pay much attention. Then, he looked around. Where's Tsunade? Did she see his imposing figure just now? She must be shocked. Because of him, Konoha's bottom-ranked ninja has become stronger. Tsunade isn't here. Orochimaru asked doubtfully, Isn't she on the battlefield in Kumagakure? And Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya, who was grinning foolishly, and hesitated whether to tell him. Tsunade had found a boyfriend? Never mind. Orochimaru sighed inwardly, deciding to let him be happy for a while. Besides you, did the old man arrange any other support? If not, they really wouldn't be of any use. Although Jiraiya has indeed become stronger, but it makes no difference whether he's here or not. He's not here. Jiraiya said regretfully, I don't know either. I rushed over as soon as I heard you were in danger. He just hadn't encountered Tsunade. Jiraiya rubbed his forehead in exasperation and said helplessly, but now it seems even I'm in danger. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Orochimaru smiled slightly, then quickly concealed it, saying calmly, Konoha has too many enemies now. If we don't get reinforcements, we really will have to. The land of whirlpools. La la la. Toby waved to the kids as he hurried towards his residence. Madara-sama must be getting impatient. Today was Toby's first day at work, and he felt pretty good. Except for the supervisor not drawing poop on him, everything else was great. He was quite happy to have so many kids to play with. Before, when he was with Madara-sama, no one played with him. Zetsu was always out wandering around, and even when Zetsu stayed in the cave, he wouldn't play with him. Afei patted the money in his pocket and muttered, now I have money to pay the rent. Madara-sama wouldn't have to worry about money anymore. Afei, would earn money to support Madara-sama. Reaching a beautiful two-story villa, Afei opened the door and shouted, I'm back. PFFT. Uzumaki soon wiped the tea from his lips, put down his cup, and looked at Uzumaki Hibiki with disbelief, saying, that old man went out? It's only been a few days. Could Madara have gotten restless and decided to go out for a stroll? Uzumaki soon didn't tell the others who lived in that house. After all, the name Uchiha Madara was quite intimidating. Yes, he wandered around aimlessly. Uzumaki Hibiki nodded and said, he seemed very concerned about those who were working. Uzumaki soon nodded knowingly. Madara's later life was basically dedicated to achieving peace, although his ideas were pretty damn crazy. However, his love for peace is undeniable, and it's probably for this reason that he observed the ordinary people of the land of whirlpools, wanting to understand why they could coexist peacefully with ninjas. What's he doing now? Uzumaki soon shook his head helplessly. Originally, his most desired recruit was Madara. After all, as one of the two overpowered figures of the previous ninja world, Madara's ninja knowledge was quite good, enough to serve as a professor in the academy. He just hadn't expected to recruit Toby instead of Madara. He wondered if Toby was having a hard time supporting his family. A strange expression appeared on Uzumaki Soon's face. He'd probably be furious when he found out about the changes in Madara and Toby. Uzumaki Hibiki pretended not to see Soon's strange expression. Pushed up her glasses, and said, he's at Violet's training ground now. As for the specifics, because of your orders, we didn't send anyone to specifically keep an eye on him. Chapter 2, Exams tomorrow. Best wishes to everyone taking the provincial exams. Chapter 202. I'm going out. Madara Uchiha wiped his mouth after finishing his meal, stood up with his cane. Lately, Abi had been buying all the food outside, since neither of them knew how to cook. Living in the cave eating dirt for so long, what culinary skills did they need? Now, eating normal food, they'd actually gained 2 pounds. And the food in the Whirlpool Country cafeteria was actually quite good. Even Abi, who didn't need to eat, was starting to enjoy the food. Lord Madara, do you need me to go with you? Abi asked, tidying up his things. Lately, Lord Madara seemed to be going out every day and returning very late. Where was he going? Aren't you going to work today? Old Madara asked, leaning on his cane. It's a day off, Abi said, scratching the back of his head. It seems to be the weekend, most of the workers in Whirlpool Country are on holiday. He didn't know what this holiday meant. The foreman had said he didn't need to work today and could go home to rest. This is utterly absurd. Madara exclaimed, his face contorted with anger. A ninja gets a week off. Hey, are most of Madara's ninjas just ordinary people? Toby said. I heard it's a rule set by Lord Soon. However, incomprehensible, utterly absurd. Madara paused, shook his head, and walked out. At the door, he turned back to Toby. In that case, you should rest for today. Toby watched Madara's departing figure, scratched his head, and muttered, but I don't feel tired. But since Madara wouldn't let him follow, then, where should I go? Toby frowned. He didn't know what to do. Usually, he spent his time studying art in the cave. Now that he was suddenly free, he didn't know what to do. Should he go paint? How about? Toby seemed to have an idea, his eyes suddenly lighting up. Should I go to the shopping street again? He was out of candy at home, especially Madara's favorite milk candy. He should go buy some later. And see if they still sell tofu pudding. That soft, Fluffy stuff is perfect for someone like Madara who has no teeth. Work from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 1 day off per week. Uzumaki soon suddenly felt like a heartless capitalist. This work schedule was even harsher than 996. Only these poor souls in the ninja world wouldn't complain, they'd even be grateful. Otherwise, in his original world, he'd be roasted alive by his employees. Luckily, people in the ninja world are generally in good physical condition, Uzumaki soon sighed. Otherwise, they'd be dead from exhaustion by now. The land of whirlpools had no choice but to do this. The labor force was too small, and increasing working hours was the only way to expand production. As for Uzumaki Hibaki's suggestion to cancel holidays, Uzumaki soon completely ignored it. He was, after all, a kind person. That old man went to Zichen's place again today and didn't wander off, Uzumaki Hibaki said, looking at her notebook. Should we have Zichen come and ask him about it? No need, Uzumaki soon said with a smile. As long as nothing unexpected happens, there's no need to worry about it. Perhaps this is Zichen's opportunity? It's better not to interfere. Who knows what surprises might come. As for whether Zichen will be tricked into becoming a terrorist by Madara, Uzumaki soon wasn't worried. After all, he had people in both the legitimate and criminal worlds. In the end, Zichen would just be transferred from headquarters to a branch office. Understood. Uzumaki Hibaki nodded. His Highness soon meant that there was still no need to pay attention. Although she didn't understand why he was doing this, Uzumaki Hibaki still maintained a high level of ninja integrity and didn't ask anything again. Looking at the memo in her hand, she said, "There's a new discovery at the Research Institute. The Grand Elder hopes you can go there." A new discovery? Uzumaki soon stroked his chin and murmured, "What could it be? Could it be that there's been some new progress in chakra extraction?" Uzumaki soon's eyes lit up, and he said to Uzumaki Hibaki, "I'll go first. Perhaps, the land of whirlpools is really about to enter a new era of energy." Grandpa. Zichen was opening a can of meat when he saw Madara arrive again, and said happily, "Have you eaten?" In the past few days, under the old man's tutelage, he had learned a lot of taijutsu knowledge. Before, he had to figure it out on his own. After all, the taijutsu research in the land of whirlpools. Zichen couldn't help but feel regretful. The land of whirlpools didn't have any powerful taijutsu ninjas, so he was very grateful to the old man who taught him. "Kid?" Madara nodded in satisfaction when he saw Zichen like this. "Those kids in Konoha are really not cute. They all only like Hashirama. Uchiha Madara, is clearly a kind person at heart. Why doesn't anyone like him in Konoha? Is this all you eat?" Madara frowned as he looked down at the pile of canned food beside him. Taijutsu ninjas need several times, even 100 times, more nutrition than others. With this and the intense training, how can my body keep up? Don't let yourself become weak at such a young age. "I'm used to it," Zichen said. "Kidane-san has to work today, so I just planned to eat something casually. Would you like some, Grandpa? This is canned meat from the land of whirlpools. It tastes really good." He pulled out a kun with a cow printed on it. "Beef canned food, my favorite. It tastes even better after a little heating. Would you like to try some, Grandpa?" Madara glanced at the canned food, a hint of disdain on his lips. Back when he was the head of the Uchiha clan, what hadn't he eaten? Especially when he followed Hashirama across the ninja world to collect the tailed beasts, he and Hashirama had tasted all sorts of delicacies. It's just that neither of them knew how to cook back then, so what they made was, cough cough, a bit unpalatable. "I wouldn't deign to." Before Madara Uchiha could finish speaking, the heated can of beef immediately released a peculiar aroma. Ahem. Madara Uchiha coughed twice, saying calmly, "Since you've invited me to try it, I'll give you that face." "What is this? It smells really good." Madara Uchiha sat down next to Shiki with a puzzled look in his eyes, looking at the can on the firewood, muttering to himself, "I just ate not long ago, how come I'm hungry again so soon?" The land of whirlpool's signature dish, braised beef. Shiki carefully picked up the heated can, saying regretfully, "This is the last one." Then, he handed it to Madara Uchiha. "Try it." He smiled at Madara Uchiha. "Thank you for your guidance these past few days." HMPH. Madara Uchiha snorted twice, saying, "Is a mere can of food enough to repay my guidance?" He took the can, picked up a piece with his chopsticks, and slowly put it in his mouth. His eyes narrowed immediately. Really? Chapter 1, now starting to write Chapter 2. It seems my perfect attendance bonus for the first month is gone. What a pity. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203. What exactly does that old woman want to do? Naoki. Jiraiya said speechlessly, looking at the group of elementary school students in front of him. Who sent you all? What's going on? He clearly remembered that Naoki was supposed to graduate in a year. How did he suddenly end up on the battlefield? And even if he graduated, he'd only be a Jinan. Shouldn't he be sweeping garbage and catching cats in the village? What's going on? It was the Hokage who arranged it, Naoki said with a proud expression. I'm a Jinan now. Has the old man gone mad? Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru, and the two exchanged bewildered glances. Why did you send a bunch of brats? What use are these kids on the battlefield? Especially since they're facing two of the 5 great shinobi villages and the Omega Cure, which possesses a demigod. Are they here to deliver their heads? Orochimaru frowned slightly, then smiled at Naoki and said, Tell your Orochimaru brother what happened in the village? Naoki scratched the back of his head, seemingly unsure how to answer. It seems Aunt Kaoru said that because of the unfavorable situation on the battlefield, we have to graduate early and come help out. What is that old woman doing? Jiraiya's face darkened with displeasure, and he said angrily, What is that menopausal woman trying to do? Isn't she afraid of getting a beating if Tsunade finds out? I'll arrange for someone to send you back in a few days. This isn't a place for you. Jiraiya patted Naoki's head and said, You're still young, so stay in the village quietly. Orochimaru nodded in agreement. These kids, let alone being able to help, would be lucky if they didn't cause trouble. And even if they were sent to the battlefield, they'd just be cannon fodder. And if Tsunade found out, he and Jiraiya would be finished. I'm already a ninja, Naoki said unhappily. I can be of help. Tisk tisk. Jiraiya gave a strange smile. A ninja who graduated early. What good is that? I was originally planning to help Jiraiya and he pursued Tsunade-chan, Naoki said regretfully, seeing Jiraiya's disapproving expression. But now I still think that gentle, handsome guy with long blue hair is more suitable for her. Huh? Jiraiya's expression froze upon hearing Naoki's words. He asked, What did you say? What gentle, handsome guy with long blue hair? Orochimaru gave an awkward smile, rubbing Naoki's head, and quickly said, Stay here for a few days and see how things go. The current battlefield is indeed not suitable for these kids. HMPH. Naoki snorted coldly at Jiraiya, took out a letter, and said, This is from the Hokage. Hey, wait a minute, Naoki, Jiraiya quickly called out, What's the deal with that gentle, handsome guy? However, Naoki left without looking back. Serves you right for looking down on me. A letter? Orochimaru frowned, looking at the letter in his hand. Why was the old man writing to him at this time? Did he have some other plan? But, the situation at the front lines was far from optimistic. He opened the envelope to see what it said. What's going on? What did the old man say? Although he hadn't figured out what was going on yet, he decided not to think about it now and could just ask Tsunade later. Jiraiya complained, What are those advisors in the village doing? They actually sent a bunch of kids to the battlefield. Old man. Orochimaru finished reading the letter, a bitter smile on his face, and said, If Tsunade finds out, she'll probably beat us both to death. Violent Tsunade. Orochimaru really didn't want to mess with her. What did he say? Jiraiya was even more curious now. He snatched the letter and glanced at it, then suddenly looked up, his eyes wide, at Orochimaru, and said, Has the old man gone mad? So, it's still impossible to forcibly extract chakra? Uzumaki-jun stroked his chin, looking at a strange device in front of him, something that looked like a blood vessel. Did you create this by studying Samedhota's absorption capabilities? Yes. The Grand Elder said with a smile, Science is truly full of incredible knowledge. We originally studied how living beings forcibly extract chakra from Samedhota. But we never expected to create this in the end. Life Extractor. A device that can forcibly extract life force. It's truly amazing. Uzumaki-jun said with emotion, but what's the use of this? He remembered that because of the Uzumaki clan's special constitution, life force overflowed, allowing injured people to heal from a single bite. The principle behind this was also absorbing Kyoko's life force, which, to some extent, would harm Kyoko's life. So later, Uzumaki soon told her not to let others bite her arm. Through the previous experiments, the Grand Elder said with a smile, we discovered that the extracted life force can be transferred to other animals. It can repair injuries, increase lifespan, or enhance physical constitution. That powerful? Hearing the Grand Elder's words, Uzumaki soon was stunned. If that were really the case, wouldn't it be possible to continuously extract life force and achieve immortality? No, it's not possible. The Grand Elder seemed to have guessed what Uzumaki-sun was thinking, shaking his head and saying, there seem to be limitations, it can't be injected long-term. I see. Uzumaki-sun felt a little disappointed, looking at the extractor in front of him, and asked, can it be used across species? All the organisms we've tested so far can be used. The Grand Elder nodded and said, as for humans, we haven't tested them yet. In that case, Uzumaki-sun nodded in satisfaction. It seemed that the people at the research institute had listened to him, trying to use other organisms as much as possible before confirming the safety of the experimental product. He sighed and said, it seems that clinical trials will begin soon. I wonder if they'll use prisoners from Kirigakure? Or just grab a few terrorists from outside? And let's call it a strengthening agent. Uzumaki-sun stroked his chin and said, if it's harmless to humans, we'll dilute it 10,000 times and sell it to other villages. One bottle costs 10,000 taels, 100 bottles constitute one course of treatment, and 3 courses will show results. As for not being effective? That's a matter of your constitution then, perhaps drinking a few more bottles will help? That's how health supplements are. We'll arrange clinical trials as soon as possible, the elder nodded, but the sample size is still insufficient. There are only a dozen or so middle-aged people from Kirigakure, the limitations are too great. Perhaps. Uzumaki-jun stroked his chin, suddenly thinking of someone, and said, extract a few bottles for me. A mysterious smile appeared on his lips, it's time to give Toby some perks. I wonder what will happen after Age Spots finishes it? Will he, no more backaches, no more leg pains, and even walk without a cane? Chapter 2. I have a question for everyone, do you remember the first Akatsuki members? Before Yahiko died, one of them knew mud release, lightning speed, and swordsmanship, and I remember he confessed to Konan, but was rejected by Konan's the ninja world is not yet at peace, how can I start a family? He eventually died at Obito's hands. Another partner was bald. What were their names? Chapter 204, Heavy Losses. What is Taijutsu? Madara sat on a stone bench, looking at Shiki still training not far away, and said calmly, Taijutsu is the art of attacking directly with the body without needing hand seals. But Taijutsu practitioners are always at a disadvantage. Because they cannot use ninjutsu and genjutsu, their resistance to these two types of techniques is extremely weak. They can easily fall into someone else's trap. Madara sighed and said, kid, I advise you to give up. No one can become strong solely through Taijutsu. I think the land of whirlpools is pretty good now. Madara Uchiha looked at Shiki, who was ignoring his words and continuing to train, a fleeting smile playing on his lips. He said casually, even without becoming a ninja, you can live a comfortable life. Go find a job. No. However, Shiki turned his head, looking at Madara with a determined expression in his eyes. I will not give up. I became a ninja not to live a good life, but to protect this country. Shiki stared at Madara's resolute expression. I have experienced war, and I don't want the land of whirlpools to fall into war as well. So, I will become a strong person like Kita-ni-san. To become a soldier of the land of whirlpools. Seeing Shiki's determination in his words, Madara fell silent. Finally, he sighed and said, I acknowledge your dream, brat. Then, a cold smile appeared on his lips. Although this dream is still so laughable. You think this country needs your protection? That brat Uzumaki is already, just like he and Hashirama back then, unrivaled in the ninja world. A dream, if it persists, can become a reality. Hearing the old man's words, Zicheng smiled and said, this is what His Highness soon said, so I will always persevere. Hearing that brat's words again, Madara felt a headache coming on. A genius always giving others pep talks, isn't he afraid of causing problems? He said helplessly, it's better not to listen to that red-haired brat. Huh? Zicheng looked at Madara in confusion. What did this old man just say? However, Your body cannot use ninjutsu or genjutsu. Madara's expression became serious as he said, but you can refine chakra. And a ninja's taijutsu is not simply based on the body. Hearing that the old man was about to talk about taijutsu again, Zichen immediately listened attentively. Madara glanced at Zichen's body and said calmly, while taijutsu, unlike ninjutsu and genjutsu, doesn't consume chakra to attack enemies, a large amount of chakra can highly activate the body, achieving speed and strength unimaginable to ordinary people. Therefore, taijutsu has both disadvantages and advantages. Although it's very dangerous against genjutsu and ninjutsu-type ninjas, it's the most effective way to defeat enemies who can absorb chakra or nullify ninjutsu. So, your body has already reached the strength that someone your age can withstand. Madara looked at Zichen and said, for the sake of that canned food earlier, I'll give you some advice. From now on, strengthen your control over chakra. When your chakra can freely attach to every part of your body, then your taijutsu will be the true beginning. I see. Hearing the old man's words, Zichen's eyes lit up, as if he had thought of the way forward, and he quickly asked, how do I do that? It seems this old man must have been a taijutsu master in his youth, otherwise how could he know so much about taijutsu? He had felt that no matter how much he trained, he was making little progress, as if he had reached a bottleneck. Madara glanced at the small river beside him and the surrounding trees, then stood up calmly and turned around. Just as Zichen was anxiously asking, thinking that the old man was unwilling to teach him, a leisurely voice came over. Walking on water, stepping on trees. So the old man made you Naoki's instructor? Jiraiya frowned and said, but the Senju clan. Are you sure you won't get beaten up? Naoki and Tsunade don't know yet. Orochimaru shook his head and said, the old man asked me to keep it a secret. But now Naoki. Jiraiya hesitated for a moment, then sighed and said, it can't be kept secret for long. Tsunade will definitely be even angrier then. He knew Tsunade's personality. If he told her now, she would be sad for a while, but she would cheer up and everyone would be fine. But if he kept it from her, not only would he get punched, but he wouldn't even be able to be friends with her anymore. They might even hate you. Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru with a serious expression. What will you do? Eh? Orochimaru opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. He knew what his teacher meant. Wasn't he just trying to use the Senju clan's reputation to become Hokage? But I'll talk to Tsunade myself in a few days. Orochimaru hesitated for a moment, then decided to say, as for whether to tell Naoki, let Tsunade decide. He still couldn't bring himself to do it. Even if Naoki had the chance to awaken would release, he didn't want to disappoint Jiraiya and Tsunade. After all, they were a team. Really? Jiraiya patted Orochimaru on the shoulder and said cheerfully, that's more like it. We don't need to worry about the old man. Tsunade will naturally settle accounts with him later. But Orochimaru sighed and said, I still agree with what the old man said. In this world, only strength can guarantee one's survival. If Naoki awakens would release. Sigh. However, before Orochimaru could speak, Jiraiya waved his hand, sighed, and said, I know, but. He looked at the group of kids who were curious about the battlefield not far behind him. I just hope they find out sooner. The cruelty of this ninja world. Nonsense. Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya disdainfully. The ninja world is inherently cruel. The sooner they understand, the harder they'll try to survive in this world. Hell. Jiraiya chuckled and said, whatever. We can't stop them now. You know, the Konoha advisors sent them here. However, before he could finish speaking, Lord Orochimaru, Lord Jiraiya, a Konoha ninja rushed in, looking flustered, and said, the Sans and Iwa ninjas have launched another attack. Konoha Year 32, October. Due to the combined forces of Iwagakure, Tsunagakure, and Omegakure, Konoha was defeated and suffered heavy losses. Anti-war sentiment began to emerge within Konoha. Most people complained about the Hokage, asking why they had to send underage children to the battlefield. So, sigh. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette, turned his back to Danzo, sighed, and said, Konoha can't wait any longer. If this continues, we'll be letting down our teacher, letting down the first Hokage. And Danzo. I have something to say, though I shouldn't. Chapter 1. Chapter 205 Konoha is about to surrender. Where are you going? Zetsu looked speechlessly at Tobi, who had changed his clothes and was about to leave, and asked, where's Lord Madara? Lord Madara is resting inside. Toby pointed to the room next door and said anxiously, I've prepared the meal, and now I have to go to work. Tell Lord Madara later. If he doesn't hurry, he'll lose his perfect attendance bonus for the month. Then, he hurriedly left, leaving a completely bewildered Zetsu. What did he just say? Black Zetsu asked. Doesn't he need to take care of Lord Madara? I don't know, White Zetsu replied. It seems like he was just doing some work, who knows? Should we go check on Lord Madara now? Never mind. Zetsu glanced at Lord Madara's room, shook his head, and said, let's go find that red-haired brat. Who knows how long Lord Madara will sleep? What about Konoha? Let's see what that brat wants to do. He still remembered the mission the brat had given him, which had caused a war among the 5 great ninja villages. What about the food? White Zetsu nodded after hearing this. Should we tell Lord Madara? Tell him my foot. Does Lord Madara need to eat? He's been eating dirt in the cave all along. Black Zetsu sighed speechlessly and said, leave a message. Madara-sama might not wake up for a while, and we still have a mission, we can't waste time outside. Besides, there are many things to arrange for the goddess of the rabbit cult. The urbanization process also needs to be accelerated. Uzumaki-jun looked at the documents sent down and said to Uzumaki Hibiki beside him, the roads in the land of whirlpools should have been repaved by now. With war raging outside, the land of whirlpools can take this opportunity to develop properly. As for Kokuzu, he took 3 airships and went out to act as an arms dealer a few days ago. A peace-loving arms dealer. Except for the undeveloped mountainous areas, all the other cities and ports have been completed. Uzumaki Hibiki looked at the memo in her hand and said, Lord Rin has already begun the development of the mountainous areas. So fast? Uzumaki-jun frowned upon hearing this. A country can't possibly build cities everywhere. Uzumaki-jun didn't know if this world had problems like soil erosion, but, thinking of Tsunagakure, he had a bad feeling. We still need to protect the environment. Uzumaki soon sighed and said, tell my dad not to start developing the mountainous areas yet, let's finish building the few cities we've designated first. As for the others, the land of whirlpools is still too small, the current small islands are no longer conducive to its development. It seems we need to start experiments with land reclamation. Uzumaki soon stroked his chin, looking at the map on the table. Now, the only option is to build upwards or towards Kirigakure, Hidden Mist Village. However, the land reclamation technology of the original world might not be suitable for the ninja world, so, we need to wait for the Research Institute to investigate and see if there's a suitable method for ninjas to reclaim land, since the land of whirlpools doesn't yet have the equipment for land reclamation from the original world. Understood. Uzumaki Hibiki noted it down in her memo, then asked, the Research Institute sent word that chakra crystals and gold dust are used up and need to be replenished. I'll inform Gato. Uzumaki soon nodded, saying helplessly, is there still no progress in the chakra glass research? He could manage the gold dust himself. But as for chakra crystals, well, there was nothing he could do. And this long-term reliance on external purchases isn't a sustainable solution. It seems there's some progress, Hibiki Uzumaki said, frowning as if recalling something. But each time the chakra is stored, it disappears automatically after a short while. Hearing Hibiki's words, Jun Uzumaki nodded in satisfaction. Progress was good, he was afraid of no progress at all. And from being unable to withstand it before to being able to withstand it for a while now, that was huge progress. Perhaps in a few days, glass could replace chakra crystals? Continue the research. Don't worry about waste, Jun Uzumaki said, tapping his fingers on the table. Anyway, the glass shards can be recycled and remelted. Okay, Hibiki nodded. The last thing is the Kirigakure prisoners. The Hidden Mist Village sent back a message saying they didn't send anyone to invade the land of whirlpools. They hope the land of whirlpools will hand over the Kirigakure ninja so they can investigate themselves and give the land of whirlpools an explanation. The Hidden Mist Village is that shameless. Uzumaki-sun was speechless. Did they really think he was a teenager? Since that's the case, tell Kirigakure that the land of whirlpools has investigated and confirmed those were Kirigakure ninjas. Uzumaki-sun said with a cold smile, there's no need to trouble Kirigakure. We in the land of whirlpools will handle these prisoners ourselves. Serves you right for trying to be clever. In that case, these Jonin will stay in the land of whirlpools for reformation. Also, have the moral education teachers give the Kirigakure ninjas 2 more hours of lessons every night. Uzumaki soon said, narrowing his eyes, and add 10 more sets of practice tests every night. He didn't believe that with this kind of education, these ninjas' values wouldn't be corrected. Yes. Hibiki Uzumaki gave Prince Sun a strange smile, nodded, and said, I'll make the arrangements. And, just as Sun was about to say something, he paused, smiled, and said, there's nothing else now, you can leave. Yes, Your Highness. Hibiki Uzumaki nodded, then respectfully turned around to leave. He could tell that Prince Sun seemed to have left things unsaid, deliberately trying to get rid of him. But, as a ninja, he still diligently carried out Prince Sun's orders, no matter what. Sensing that Hibiki Uzumaki had left, Sun Uzumaki narrowed his eyes, smiled, and said, Come, welcome our branch manager. Uchiha Clan. Prepare to gather the clansmen tonight, the Uchiha Clan head said, standing in his training ground, his eyes gazing blankly at the sky. It's about to begin. When some in the village refused the war and began to resist it, the Uchiha Clan's days in Konoha were numbered. After all, how could they ensure the Meijekyo Sharingan wouldn't reappear? There was no other way but the annihilation of the Uchiha Clan. Hearing his father's words, Fugaku opened his mouth, seemingly wanting to say something, but seeing his father's sharp gaze, he finally sighed and said, I understand. He knew his most important task now was to lead the Uchiha Clan to survival, and his father, they would sacrifice themselves for the survival of the Uchiha Clan. I'll contact the daimyo of Uzumaki later. Seeing Fugaku nod, the Uchiha Clan head said calmly, I will personally speak with the daimyo of Uzumaki and the Uzumaki Clan head. As for you, just lead the Uchiha Clan forward. But, the Uchiha Clan head, expressionless, stared into Fugaku's eyes and said, remember, the Uchiha Clan is not dogs. We don't need to live like dogs without dignity. No one can desecrate the name of the Uchiha. Upon hearing this, Uchiha Fugaku raised his chest and shouted, I will protect the reputation of the Uchiha Clan. Go down. The Uchiha Clan head nodded in satisfaction and said, from now on, you are the Uchiha Clan head. Remember to take good care of your clansmen. Why are you here? Uzumaki-jun squinted at Zetsu in front of him. He remembered that Zetsu should hate seeing him, after all, he had tricked him so many times. Why did he suddenly come to see him? Did something happen? Ignoring the malicious glare from the red-haired brat before him, Zetsu calmly said, indeed, I have something important to inform you. He really didn't want to see this kid. The goddess of the rabbit cult had only just begun, and there were still many things waiting for him to arrange. He was very busy, but, for his mother's resurrection, he couldn't not come. Oh? Uzumaki-jun immediately asked curiously, what is it? What could possibly make Zetsu, unafraid of being tricked, muster such courage to come? Zetsu looked at Uzumaki-jun and said helplessly, Konoha seems to want to surrender. Chapter 2. 2 chapters again for the next few days. Chapter 206 The Uchiha Clan. Are you kidding me? Uzumaki-jun stared blankly at Zetsu in front of him. What was he saying? The village founded by the god of shinobi was going to surrender? Don't be ridiculous. If they really surrendered, Hiruzen Sarutobi wouldn't even be able to keep his position as Hokage. Did he see Danzo still striving for his ideals at such an advanced age, and as his best friend, he was going to help him realize his dream? Are you sure? Uzumaki-jun frowned and asked, will the daimyo of the land of fire agree? I don't know what's going on yet, Zetsu shook his head and said, but there's anti-war sentiment in Konoha. Anti-war sentiment? Uzumaki-jun stroked his chin, deep in thought. The war had only just begun, and Konoha already had anti-war sentiment? This wouldn't do. How could the land of whirlpools develop if you didn't fight each other? In that case, you continue to monitor the situation in Konoha, Uzumaki-sun said. If Konoha really surrenders, then... He sighed, patted Zetsu's shoulder, and said, it's up to you. He smiled, I believe in you? Zetsu looked at Uzumaki-sun blankly. What did this have to do with him? He was just here to deliver a message. Konoha. He couldn't beat them. Don't worry, Uzumaki-sun patted Zetsu's shoulder, giving him a I believe in you look, and smiled, you can do it. The notorious mastermind of the ninja world, if you can't, who can? I have something I don't know if I should say. Zetsu hesitated, he had something he really wanted to say. However. Then don't say it, Uzumaki-sun said with a smile. He's over 1,000 years old, and there's still something he shouldn't say? This is going to cause trouble. Now, come with me to Konoha first. He had just sensed that the special tune placed with the Uchiha clan had been activated. Jun Uzumaki felt a surge of excitement. Now, the Land of Whirlpools finally had 3 of the 4 ancient clans, except for the Byakugan. The Land of Rain. Konoha Camp. What should we do this time? Jiraiya frowned, looking at Orochimaru in front of him, and said, we simply can't hold out. If this continues, even those new brats will probably be buried in this land. Sigh. Orochimaru sighed and said, I can't do anything now. Tsukumo needs to intimidate the smaller ninja villages. Tsunade is confronting the Hidden Cloud village, and only we. Facing 2 major ninja villages and the Hidden Rain village. What could he do? He was desperate too. As for Tsunade, Jiraiya hesitated for a moment, sighed, and said, let's not tell her about the Senju clan for now. Maybe in the end, we'll both stay here? Then it won't be our business anymore, and Tsunade will go to the old man herself. And Naoki and the others. Send them back to the village. And while you're at it, give that crazy old hag Kaoru a piece of her mind. Seriously, she hasn't even graduated yet and she's already being sent to the battlefield. Jiraiya complained. If I weren't in the village, I would definitely let her taste the power of the Toad Sage. The old man was really something, actually agreeing to that crazy woman's suggestion. Orochimaru opened his mouth, but finally nodded and said, I'll have someone pass the message to the old man. He licked his lips and narrowed his eyes. But undeniably, there are some pretty strong kids among these brats. Indeed. Jiraiya nodded in agreement. Like that. No hand-seal ninjutsu. He was drooling just looking at it. If I'm alive, I should find a disciple. If he found the chosen one. Jiraiya was already excited just thinking about it. He would become the master of the chosen one who would change the ninja world, and many young ladies would admire him and throw themselves at him. As for Tsunade, today you ignore me, tomorrow you'll be begging for my attention. Jiraiya smirked, revealing a silly grin. Orochimaru, standing beside him, looked at him with utter disgust. Uchiha clan chief, Uzumaki Jun smiled at the expressionless Uchiha clan chief before him, and said, have you finally made up your mind? It seems Konoha is finally going to push the Uchiha out to appease the anger of the other ninja villages, although that Mangekyou Sharingan was definitely not Konoha's doing. The Uchiha clan chief paused for a moment, then said calmly, I need to know how the Uchiha clan will fare in the Land of Whirlpools? Or rather, what does the Uchiha clan need to give? You don't need to give anything, Uzumaki Jun said earnestly. As for how the Uchiha clan will fare in the Land of Whirlpools? That will depend on your own efforts. The Land of Whirlpools is a country ruled by law, everyone is equal before the law. Uzumaki Jun met the Uchiha clan chief's eyes calmly. I can only guarantee that the Uchiha clan will be citizens of the Land of Whirlpools, enjoying all the rights that citizens of the Land of Whirlpools should have. No one will discriminate against the Uchiha clan. Hearing Uzumaki Jun's words, a smile flashed across the Uchiha clan chief's face, and he said calmly, I hope you can keep your promise today. Keep his promise? In the name of the daimyo of the Land of Whirlpools, he promised that regardless of whether they were from the Uchiha, Senju, Hyuga, Minazuki, or Hazuki clans, as long as they were citizens of the Land of Whirlpools, they would be protected by its laws. Uzumaki Jun gave a mysterious smile and said, don't worry, the Senju clan is also in the Land of Whirlpools. You can go and ask them how they're doing. He'd heard that Senju Hideaki was doing quite well, getting used to manual labor, and his earth and water release techniques were masterful, making him a favorite of all the captains in the infrastructure department. He'd even been promoted to captain of the 3rd squad in the infrastructure department. Sigh. A single guy with a dozen kids to take care of, how could he not work hard? Especially since he took out a loan to buy a house, if he didn't work diligently, he probably wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage. The Senju clan. The Uchiha clan chief's pupils contracted, then he nodded slightly, sighing inwardly. It seemed that even that bastard Senju clan chief had sacrificed himself for the clan. But, could the conflict between the Senju and Uchiha clans continue into the Land of Whirlpools? And this Land of Whirlpools is too audacious. Aren't they afraid of being surrounded and wiped out by the 5 great shinobi villages? After all, coveting the bloodlines of other shinobi villages is a major taboo. In that case, Uchiha Madara pondered for a moment, then said, could I see the head of the Uzumaki clan? He decided it was best not to meddle, for now, all that mattered was the survival of the Uchiha clan. Uzumaki Jun, upon hearing this, frowned and asked, what do you want? This Uchiha clan chief, Didn't he believe the words of the youngest Cage, the loyal and righteous daimyo of the land of whirlpools? What did he want to do by seeing the head of the Uzumaki clan at this time? Chapter 1. Chapter 207 The Uchiha Clan Bloodline. Zio-sun. The Uzumaki clan chief looked around with a complaining expression and said, "Why did you bring me here? There are still so many things to do back home. Managing the new population, adjusting foreign trade, the academy. There are so many things in the land of whirlpools that he needs to handle lately. A clan chief doesn't believe me and wants to meet the Uzumaki clan chief," Uzumaki soon said, spreading his hands. "So I brought you here. If it weren't for the fact that they were from the Uchiha clan, for the sake of the land of whirlpools' future, Uzumaki soon, as the daimyo of the land of whirlpools, would have ignored them long ago." "Which clan?" The Uzumaki clan chief frowned immediately and said, "Just beat him up. You're the daimyo of the land of whirlpools now, what's there to look down on you for? You must know that Uzumaki-sun is not only the representative of the Uzumaki clan, but also the daimyo of the land of whirlpools. Every word and action represents the land of whirlpools, so, he absolutely cannot be insulted. Moreover, the Uzumaki clan has always been one to act rather than talk. As the daimyo of the land of whirlpools, the youngest Cage, wouldn't you just take action directly? This is that clan." Uzumaki-jun pointed to the fan hanging on the wall and said calmly. "Which one?" The clan head frowned, looking at the clan crest on the wall, and muttered, "This seems a little familiar." Just then, "Long time no see, Uzumaki clan head." A deep voice came. "The Uchiha clan." The Uzumaki clan head turned around, looking at the middle-aged man who appeared before him, and said with a frown, "I thought it was someone else? So it's the Uchiha clan. What is Jun trying to do? The Senju clan, the Kamasu clan, the Blood Pond clan. This is trying to make the land of whirlpools take on the entire ninja world alone. The Uchiha clan wants to form an alliance with the Uzumaki clan," the Uchiha clan head said calmly. He had already thought it through. The Uchiha clan was no ordinary clan, everyone in the ninja world coveted their bloodline limit, and this was the Uchiha clan's weakest period. So, even if he, the Uchiha clan head, was arrogant, he couldn't just send the Uchiha clan to the land of whirlpools. The Senju clan, they were allies with the Uzumaki clan. Unlike the Uchiha clan, the land of whirlpools doesn't accept clan-based alliances anymore, the Uzumaki clan head said, frowning. The land of whirlpools is no longer the ignorant country it once was in the ninja world. It's a law-abiding, harmonious, and free country. Everyone must abide by the law, including me, the Uzumaki clan head. Hearing the Uzumaki clan head's words, the Uchiha clan head fell silent. He had no idea about the current situation in the land of whirlpools, so, the Uchiha clan head glanced at Uzumaki-jun. He hoped to form an alliance with another clan head as a clan head. Seeing the Uchiha clan head's gaze, Uzumaki-jun frowned, but finally relaxed, saying, "In that case, Uncle Clan Head, I'll take my leave for a moment." He winked at the Uzumaki clan head, signaling him not to act rashly. Let's see what this Uchiha clan head is up to first. He actually wants to avoid him, the daimyo of the land of whirlpools. The Uzumaki clan chief, who had initially intended to refuse, saw Uzumaki-sun's gaze and subtly nodded, saying, "In that case, I will speak with the Uchiha clan chief as the Uzumaki clan chief." Uzumaki-sun, having left, idly walked to the Uchiha training ground, casually finding a spot. Watching a young man throwing kunai in the distance, he murmured with admiration, "Truly worthy of the Uchiha clan's throwing technique." "And who?" The young man, hearing the voice, gripped his kunai tightly, turned around, and shouted. Looking at the boy, about 5 or 6 years younger than him, he frowned. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" This was a crucial time for the Uchiha clan, absolutely nothing could go wrong. Looking at the Uchiha youth who had turned around, Uzumaki-sun smiled and said, "Long time no see, Uchiha Fugaku." Indeed, the Uchiha youth before him was the next Uchiha clan chief, the father of another future chosen one. "You, Shanks?" Fugaku Uchiha frowned, his tone tinged with doubt, upon hearing the brat mention his name. "From the Uzumaki clan?" "Uzumaki-jun, the current daimyo of the land of whirlpools." Uzumaki-jun stood up, walked to Fugaku, and smiled. "Don't you remember me? That brat from that time?" Fugaku said, suddenly realizing. "The youngest Cage in the ninja world. What do you want with me?" The Uzumaki clan head frowned. "Actually, you didn't need to come to me. The Uzumaki clan and the Land of Whirlpools are now under Jun's control. No one will object to whatever decision he makes. I know. The Uchiha clan head sighed. But you and I both know that the Uchiha Sharingan. No one in the ninja world doesn't covet it. And, as the Uchiha clan head, he also knew that Konoha was being betrayed so badly, and behind it all was the loyal and righteous Prince Jun. That alliance, it was simply a trap. But he couldn't say any of this now, since the Uchiha clan would be living in the Land of Whirlpools from now on. It was best not to provoke Uzumaki Jun, who was different from the traditional Uzumaki clan members. Sigh. The Uzumaki clan chief nodded, looking at the Uchiha clan chief with empathy. Their Uzumaki clan, due to their constitution, had been coveted by the entire ninja world. If it weren't for the emergence of the current daimyo of the Land of Whirlpools, the Uzumaki clan would probably have disappeared long ago. But these days, the Land of Whirlpools doesn't tolerate clan-based factions, the Uzumaki clan chief said. That's against the law. As long as Jun promised you, the Land of Whirlpools will definitely do it. You can rest assured. However, no. The Uchiha clan chief shook his head and said, I need you to guarantee it in the name of the Uzumaki clan's 1,000-year heritage. That's too much? The Uzumaki clan chief frowned. The Land of Whirlpools is a law-abiding country. As long as the Uchiha clan behaves itself within the Land of Whirlpools, everything will be fine. Guaranteed in the name of the Uzumaki clan? Back then, when the Uzumaki clan allied with Konoha, they swore an oath in the name of 1,000 years. And what happened? The Uzumaki clan always kept the promise, but Konoha almost betrayed them and wiped them out. The bloodline of the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan head seemed not to hear the Uzumaki clan head's words, and said calmly, I exchanged the Uchiha clan's bloodline limit and the Uchiha clan's fire release secret technique. At this moment, the Uzumaki clan head's eyes widened as he stared at the Uchiha clan head. You're insane. Knight. Are you really going to do this? Uzumaki Jun looked at the Uchiha clan head beside him and said, if you ask me, you should listen to your elders and stage a coup. Making Konoha taste the pain. After all, it's not that you've wronged Konoha, but that Konoha has wronged you. Truly worthy of being Adachi's grandfather. He was a ruthless guy who personally killed the reactionary faction within his clan to maintain the harmony of Konoha. Uzumaki Jun made a decision. Once Adachi was born, he would have him learn the core theories and ideologies of the Land of Whirlpools from a young age. Otherwise, as the daimyo of the Land of Whirlpools, he couldn't rest easy. What if he drove Sasuke into rebellion? Uzumaki Jun didn't know what the Uzumaki clan head and the Uchiha clan had discussed in the room, only that the Uzumaki clan head's smile was eerie, so it seemed to be a good thing. As for whether the Uzumaki clan head would rebel against him with the Uchiha clan head, Uzumaki Jun wasn't worried at all. No one in the Land of Whirlpools dared to stage a coup. So, after seeing off some Uchiha clan members and the Uzumaki clan head, he was dragged by the Uchiha clan head to kill people, or rather, kill members of the Uchiha clan. Consider it one last thing you do for Konoha. The Uchiha clan head sighed and said, after all, Konoha was founded by the Uchiha and Senju clans. Foolish. Uzumaki Jun scoffed. They wanted to wipe out your entire family. And you still think of Konoha? Killing your own clansmen for the sake of Konoha's harmony and stability. It has to be said, the Senju and Uchiha clans are both idiots. But, he couldn't help but admire them. Aside from being a bit foolish, these two clans are law-abiding and good families. Chapter 2. 2 chapters again today, the thesis. Thesis. Writing it is giving me a headache. Chapter 208 You've arrived. Uchiha Fukyu, you'll ruin the Uchiha clan. The white-haired man, his blood-red three-tomo Sharingan glaring at the middle-aged man and the boy beside him, his expression hardening. Finally, he closed his eyes and said in a sorrowful tone, You'll ruin the Uchiha. Before he could finish. Sizzle. Uzumaki soon plunged a knife into him, saying calmly, the grievances have their source, the debts have their debtors. You can talk about it later. The Uchiha elders had lolled to the side, collapsing to the ground, his wide eyes indicating he died with unfinished business. The Uchiha clan head beside him looked at Uzumaki soon speechlessly. Although he didn't mind taking the blame, he was going to die anyway, couldn't he just shut up? It's done. Uzumaki Jun wiped the borrowed Uchiha longsword in his hand, turned around ignoring the livid face of the Uchiha clan head, and said, is there anything else that needs to be dealt with? There really wasn't a single one capable of fighting. If the Uchiha clan hadn't awakened their main Gekkai Sharingan, they were basically all Jonin. which was a piece of cake for Uzumaki-jun. No need. The Uchiha clan head looked around, shook his head, and said with a sigh, that's enough. He certainly didn't want to harm his own clansmen, but if he didn't, if the Anbu ninja discovered anything, those Uchiha clansmen heading to the land of whirlpools would be in danger. Take these 3 pairs of Sharingan. The Uchiha clan had dug out a 3-tomo Sharingan from the first elder, adding to the 2 pairs already possessed, and said, I hope the Uzumaki clan can keep its promise and allow the Uchiha clan to, sigh. He paused, a bitter smile appearing on his lips, not be wiped out. Uzumaki-jun accepted the 3 pairs of 3-tomo Sharingan with a puzzled look. These 3 pairs were basically the eyes of Uchiha clan elders. After all, the Sharingan, unlike the Byakugan, is quite difficult to awaken, let alone the 3-tomo Sharingan. Therefore, the Uchiha clan still rarely possesses 3-tomo Sharingan. Those who do are usually Uchiha elders. Uzumaki-jun had originally intended to lecture this feudal clan on freedom, equality, and openness, but seeing those 3-tomo Sharingan eyes filled with a death wish, he sighed and said, I assure you, the Uchiha clan will become strong. And, hearing Uzumaki-jun's words, the Uchiha clan head's lips curled slightly, and then he said calmly, from this moment on, the Uchiha must be sealed off. Please. Leave immediately. We can't wait any longer. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of his pipe, looked at Danzo in front of him, and said wistfully, everything depends on you. They couldn't continue like this, otherwise the battlefield would truly collapse. Moreover, the recent movements of the Uchiha clan made him even more suspicious that they might know something and be preparing to launch a coup. Otherwise, why summon all the clan members back to the clan territory? Was it really a clan reunion? Danzo opened his mouth as if to say something, but thinking of Konoha's current situation, he sighed and said, you are Konoha's light, and I am Konoha's darkness. I know what to do. How is it? Has Root left yet? Uzumaki-jun asked, looking at Zetsu in front of him. This time, coming to Konoha wasn't just about taking the Uchiha clan away. Uzumaki-jun had another idea in his mind. That is, to steal Hashirame's cells. It wasn't that he wanted to transplant the cells of the god of shinobi, but to give them to the research institute to study and see what the difference was between Hashirame's cells and his current cells. After all, with so many Yang Shield enhancements, his vitality was off the charts, plus would release. Perhaps he could discover something? And if possible, now that the Uchiha clan was in the land of whirlpools, perhaps a few Rinnegan would appear in the future. As for transplanting them himself, Uzumaki-jun felt strange all over at the thought of having Hashirame's face etched on his body. He's not like Madara, that old dancer with a gay motif tattooed on his body and still grinning. Besides, he has a system, why would he need anything else? He can rely on himself. That Uchiha clan leader is quite clever. Zetsu sneered, knowing to do it himself. As expected of Haguramo's descendant, he's ruthless when it comes to his own family. Konoha is indeed going to take action against the Uchiha clan. It's all part of the same lineage. Uzumaki-jun sighed, muttering, it's all because the higher-ups set a bad precedent. What did you say? Zetsu asked, frowning, what? Oh, nothing. Uzumaki-jun came to his senses and smiled, I mean it's all because they didn't develop the right values from a young age. The land of whirlpools will definitely strengthen moral education for children in the future, cultivating a correct worldview from childhood. We still need this Zetsu, who's been a professional ninja world paparazzi for thousands of years, so we shouldn't push him too far. Root has already begun mobilization, along with Konoha's Anbu. Hearing Uzumaki-jun's ramblings, Zetsu ignored it completely, he was used to it anyway. He said calmly, what a bunch of hypocrites. Oh? Uzumaki-jun narrowed his eyes at Zetsu, a slight smile playing on his lips. Looks like you'd better be prepared too. And? Zetsu looked up, bewildered. A bad feeling crept into his heart, the land of whirlpools. I'll help you with your Uzushiagakure registration later. The Uzumaki clan chief patted Fugaku Uchiha on the shoulder, opened his mouth, but finally sighed and said, you are now the Uchiha clan chief, and the entire Uchiha clan awaits your command. So, be strong. I'm sorry. Fugaku Uchiha wiped away his tears, raised his head, glanced expressionlessly at the Uzumaki clan chief, then turned to look at his clansmen, sighing inwardly, he absolutely cannot cry now. He had promised his father that he would lead the Uchiha clan to rise again. So, he cannot cry. The older ones, Start taking care of the pregnant women and children now. Fugaku Uchiha looked at the numb faces of his clansmen and said calmly, from this moment on, we. Fugaku Uchiha clenched his fists, seemingly using all his strength, are no longer the Uchiha clan of Konoha. The Uchiha clan had knelt in the dimly lit clan hall, a long sword covered in congealed blood resting on his lap, looking particularly sinister in the dim light. His gaze was indifferent as he looked at the Uchiha clan crest before him. He sighed inwardly. He didn't know if the clan crest, passed down for 1,000 years, would ever reappear, nor did he know what the Uchiha clan would become under Fugaku's leadership. He didn't even know whether he would ever see those clansmen killed by that brat Uzumaki, with his own hands again. He knew nothing. Not even whether what he had done was right. But he had no choice. And then, creak. The wooden door of the clan hall opened. A group of ninjas wearing strange masks rushed in and immediately surrounded the Uchiha clan head. Hearing the commotion, the Uchiha clan head remained kneeling silently, not raising his head, until a heavy footstep echoed in the clan hall. The Uchiha clan head's hand gripping his sword trembled slightly, then he said calmly, "You've come." Chapter 209 Kaleidoscope. Looking at the eerie atmosphere, especially with the Uchiha clan chief kneeling before him, Danzo didn't know what to say. He'd been startled by the Uchiha encampment the moment he entered. It was filled with the corpses of Uchiha clan members. He'd initially suspected the elusive Mangekyo Sharingan user was responsible. After stealing from Kumagakure and Iwagakure, was this the last time they were extending their evil reach to Konoha? But he hadn't expected this. Danzo glanced at the blood-soaked longsword and sighed inwardly. So it was you. It seems the Uchiha clan anticipated Konoha's attack. Danzo thought helplessly. As for personally taking action, it was probably to preserve some of the Uchiha bloodline. So, yes. Danzo paused for a moment, then said, "I've come." "You shouldn't have come," the Uchiha clan chief sighed. Although he didn't know Danzo's purpose, he had helped the Uchiha clan nonetheless. Danzo paused for a moment, then said helplessly, "But I'm already here." He hadn't wanted to come, his heart was filled with bitterness. His dream was to become a kind and benevolent village chief of Konoha, not to support Konoha's mighty foundation. But for Konoha's sake, he had no choice but to do this now. It was all Hiruzen's fault. So, the Uchiha clan has committed treason. By order of the Hokage, we have come to apprehend them. Danzo glanced at the bewildered Enbu and said coldly, "Why aren't you doing it?" "Sorry, Hiruzen, you'll probably have to find a way to salvage your image." Zetsu felt that ever since he met that red-haired brat, he hadn't had a moment's rest. Whenever he saw that brat, he could always find something for him to do. Like this time, he was even being asked to steal Hashirame's cells. Of course, Zetsu knew the purpose of the god of shinobi's cells. Madara's Rinnegan was created by accidentally biting into Hashirame's flesh, wasn't it? And then there's that goofy Toby. Although he didn't know what that brat wanted Hashirame's cells for, Zetsu didn't want him to get them. No matter how much that brat bragged about loving peace, Zetsu wouldn't believe him. He realized that the brat might know something, but he couldn't beat him. What could he do? Now, Zetsu only hoped that the brat wouldn't know his true purpose. Otherwise, he would really have to wait until the brat died before taking action. "But I miss my mother," Zetsu said, tears welling in his eyes. He just wanted his mother to love him one more time. Why was it so difficult? But he should complete that brat's task first. Otherwise, who knew how that brat would bully him again? Uzumaki-jun didn't stay in Konoha to wait for Zetsu. After assigning Zetsu a task, he slipped away, knowing that Zetsu would come looking for him after he got the cells. I wonder how Zetsu will manage to sneak in and steal Hashirame's cells? A mysterious smile played on Uzumaki-jun's lips. He wasn't sure if Konoha's biotechnology had reached the bizarre level it had after the Third Shinobi World War, and if they were currently working on creating the Green Ambassador Yamato. But he knew that if Zetsu tried to sneak in again, impersonating Danzo like last time, Uzumaki-jun felt he might as well prepare to collect Zetsu's corpse. His mother might never come out again. After all, Danzo wasn't stupid. Having been tricked once, how could he not take precautions? So now, all he could do was pray that Zetsu's will to save his mother was strong enough not to fall into Danzo's trap. The land of whirlpools. The Uzumaki clan head hadn't left, still waiting for Uzumaki-jun to return. He hadn't even started processing the Uchiha clan citizenship yet, because he didn't know if the Uchiha clan needed to change their surname like the Kamisama clan. Moreover, the Uzumaki clan chief glanced at the Uchiha clan members. Knowing the Uchiha's stubborn nature, he figured they wouldn't agree to abandon the Uchiha name. So, everything depended on how Uzumaki-jun arranged things. Just then, "You're back?" The Uzumaki clan chief smiled, looking at the spatial fluctuations before him. "Thank you for your hard work." Uzumaki-jun appeared, addressing the clan chief beside him, and this. He pulled out 3 pairs of Sharingan that the Uchiha clan chief had given him. "The Uchiha clan chief gave these to you. Give them to me?" The clan chief took the 3 pairs of eyes with a puzzled expression. What did he want these for? What's wrong? Uzumaki-jun noticed the confusion on the clan chief's face and asked, "Isn't this the deal you made with the Uchiha clan chief?" "A deal?" The Uzumaki clan chief suddenly remembered something, his expression strange. Yes, I remember now, there was indeed such a deal. So that's what the Uchiha clan's bloodline limit was all about. A flicker of regret crossed the Uzumaki clan chief's eyes. He had thought. He glanced at a girl of about 10 years old from the Uchiha clan and sighed inwardly. He had hoped that the Uzumaki clan would one day possess the Uchiha bloodline. It was well known that, apart from the Uzumaki and Senju clans, other clans, in order to maintain the purity of their bloodlines, would refuse marriages to outsiders. The minimum requirement was that someone else marry into the family. Just as the Uzumaki clan chief was feeling regretful. "Long time no see." Uzumaki-jun walked towards the girl from the Uchiha clan and said with a smile, "Uchiha Mikoto." "Yes." Uchiha Mikoto nodded and fell silent, not saying anything more. She still couldn't accept that the Uchiha clan, which had been a powerful clan in Konoha just moments before, had suddenly been wiped out. Uzumaki-jun sighed, thought for a moment, and said, "Don't be sad. If you encounter any difficulties in the future, you can come to me for help. Like, the moral education of your 2 sons." Uzumaki-jun felt he had the ability to re-establish the values of 2 teenagers with distorted worldviews and cultivate them into excellent revolutionary fighters of the land of whirlpools. Uchiha Fugaku, standing to the side, paused for a moment before speaking. "Father has already." Upon seeing those 3 pairs of eyes, he had guessed that the Uchiha clan had already. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his eyes. Uchiha Fugaku quickly covered his eyes and cried out in pain. Uzumaki-jun, seeing this, quickly helped Uchiha Fugaku up, his heart pounding. It seemed he had been stimulated, his eyes were beginning to evolve. Since Uchiha Fugaku originally had 3 tomo, then this time. Mangekyou Sharingan. "I'm alright now." After a short while, Uchiha Fugaku's somewhat hoarse voice rang out, "Thank you." He didn't know why his eyes suddenly hurt so much, but he felt that his ocular power seemed to have increased considerably. Now, what should he do? Uzumaki-jun hesitated for a moment, but finally decided to remind Uchiha Fugaku. He figured Fugaku would find out eventually anyway, and besides, Jun didn't think he was afraid of a pair of Mangekyou Sharingan. "So, you've awakened the Mangekyou Sharingan," Jun said with a tone full of satisfaction, looking at Fugaku. Chapter 2. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210, Uchiha and the Pool of Blood. Konoha. What did you say? Hiruzen Sarutobi's pipe trembled, almost falling to the ground. He took a deep breath, clutched his chest, and stared at the Anbu member in disbelief. "Say it again?" Had he misheard? Advisor Danzo said that according to your orders, the entire Uchiha clan needs to be brought under control. Although the Anbu Jonin was puzzled as to why the Hokage wanted him to repeat himself, he still obeyed orders. However, some Uchiha clan members have disappeared, and we haven't yet found out where they went. Sure enough. Hearing the Anbu's words, Hiruzen Sarutobi paused, sighed inwardly, and then, "Get Advisor Danzo over here," he roared. Uzumaki-jun was also troubled about how to deal with the Uchiha clan. Because this time, the alias wasn't Uchiha Shin. In a sense, the Uchiha clan's current predicament is all his fault, cough cough, that Uchiha Shin. Otherwise, the Uchiha clan could have survived peacefully in Konoha for another 20 years or so. So if the Uchiha clan finds out, Uzumaki-jun estimates that this generation of Uchiha who grew up in Konoha will definitely go to extremes. After all, the Uchiha clan's twisted mentality of feeling like they've let the whole world down is truly terrifying. Therefore, for a while to come, the Uchiha clan must focus on ideological construction. But right now, Konoha's problems must be carefully considered. The land of whirlpools probably won't be safe for long either. Konoha will definitely investigate thoroughly. They can't let dozens of Uchiha roam freely. What if a Mangekyou Sharingan user accidentally emerges and tries to destroy Konoha? Like Uchiha Fugaku. Uzumaki-jun probably thinks only about revenge right now. It's only because the Uchiha clan hasn't settled down that they've restrained themselves. So, since we can't hide it anymore, we can only prepare for a battle with Konoha. Uzumaki soon sighed, muttering, the Senju clan, the Uchiha clan, the Kamasumi clan, the Blood Pond clan. Before they knew it, the land of whirlpools had become the common enemy of the ninja world. But, they needed to find something for Konoha to do, to keep them preoccupied, so they couldn't let Konoha surrender so easily. Alice, Uzumaki soon sighed, saying wistfully, when will you be back? Stealing a bit of Hashirame's organization, how come it's still not successful? Could it really be? I'm so sorry for your mother. Uzumaki soon suddenly paused, saying sadly, don't worry, I'll take good care of your mother from now on. However, before Uzumaki soon could finish speaking. What did you say? A figure in black and white appeared in Uzumaki soon's office, then took out something wrapped in leaves and handed it to him, saying, I've got what you wanted. Nothing. Seeing Zetsu, Uzumaki soon unconsciously narrowed his eyes and smiled, saying, I meant you've once again contributed to the great cause of peace in the ninja world. Zetsu completely ignored Uzumaki soon's nonsense and said calmly, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving now. He decided that he wouldn't come here again for any reason, otherwise, if he continued to act so recklessly, someone would eventually discover something. Don't be in such a hurry. Uzumaki soon said with a smile, do you remember what I told you last time? To cause a war in the ninja world? Zetsu frowned and said, but Konoha has already surrendered. That's why we need you. Uzumaki soon said. What needs to be done? Zetsu asked, frowning. When the Uchiha clan of Konoha dies, the other ninja villages will stop the war. After all, the war was launched to weaken Konoha's strength. This time, the Senju and Uchiha clans were wiped out, which was enough to weaken them. If they were pushed any further, Konoha would definitely fight desperately. So, although he was a little disappointed, Zetsu still felt that he should wait for the next time. However, Uzumaki-jun narrowed his eyes and said calmly, for example, someone in Konoha might awaken would release. Zetsu stared at Uzumaki-jun in disbelief. No wonder he took a liking to him the moment he saw him. This kid was even more ruthless than him, the mastermind of the ninja world who had lived for 1,000 years. Are you a devil? Moreover, that would release last time. Zetsu didn't see it with his own eyes, and he felt very strange. After all, he had checked Senju Jusei, and there was no wood release chakra in his body. So, he still didn't know how that wood release had appeared. After all, wherever that brat is, he basically never shows up unless there's something important to do. This is where I work? Uchiha Fugaku frowned as he walked in, seeing the sign for the Public Security Bureau. Yesterday, he had been asking Prince Jun what he needed to do, and he was assigned to a place that sounded just like the Konoha Police Department. Although it offered 5 benefits and a 5-day work week if there wasn't much to do, he still was reluctant. After all, why had the Uchiha clan fallen to this state? Wasn't it because they were too diligent at work and offended many people? However, considering that the Uchiha clan had just arrived in the land of whirlpools, and that Prince Jun had promised that he could resign and find another job if he was unhappy, Uchiha Fugaku agreed. Let's take a look. Fugaku Uchiha sighed inwardly, muttering, perhaps it's different here? Upon entering, he saw a spacious hall with over a dozen staff members in various uniforms moving about, seemingly busy with something. And in the center of the hall hung a sign. Serve the people? Fugaku stared at the 5 large characters, his expression blank. What does this mean? Just then, a young man in a black uniform approached, smiling, and said, hello, how can I help you? Oh, okay. Fugaku snapped out of his daze, nodded curtly, and said with a blank expression, I'm here to start work. He casually handed over the envelope he was carrying. A new colleague. The young man was taken aback by Uchiha Fugaku's words, then smiled happily and said, the chief mentioned it this morning. I didn't expect you to come so early. I've been incredibly busy these past few days. Finally, we've been allowed to add more people. Come with me now. The chief notified me this morning that if you came, I'd take you directly there. Then, Uchiha Fugaku followed him with a puzzled look, a strange feeling creeping into his heart. This place is really a bit different. After walking a little further into the police station, the young man led Uchiha Fugaku to an office, knocked on the door, and said, "Chief, the person you mentioned is here." After a while, "Come in." A deep voice came from behind. "Go in by yourself," the young man said with a smile. "I have other things to do." He then left. Uchiha Fugaku frowned at the door in front of him, but finally decided to open it and go in. He slowly walked in. Inside the office, a person stood with their hands behind their back, seemingly looking out the window at Uchiha Fugaku. Sensing the movement, the middle-aged man, hands behind his back, spoke calmly, "The Uchiha Clan?" "Yes." Uchiha Fugaku frowned slightly, then immediately relaxed his grip, guessing it must have been Lord Sun who told him. At that moment, the middle-aged man turned around, looking at Uchiha Fugaku expressionlessly. Instantly, Uchiha Fugaku's eyes widened, staring at the middle-aged man's eyes with utter disbelief. This. His Mangekyou Sharingan involuntarily activated. Blood Dragon Eye. Chapter 1. Chapter 211. Who is Uchiha Shin? The Mangekyou Sharingan. Maya Sharaman stared at the Uchiha clan member who had suddenly activated his Mangekyou Sharingan. Although he had already learned about it from Prince Jun, he was still somewhat shocked when it actually appeared before him. After all, back then, those Mangekyou Sharingan that had been invincible throughout the world still instilled a deep fear in the Blood Pond clan. "Don't be nervous." Maya Sharaman sat down and said with a smile, "Let bygones be bygones. Now we are all citizens of the land of whirlpools. Even colleagues." This was also what most of the Blood Pond clan members thought. If the Uchiha clan were still a powerful clan in Konoha, then revenge would be inevitable. But now that they were a clan in the land of whirlpools, then let it go. So many years had passed, and the Blood Pond clan was doing quite well now. Just as Prince Jun said, there was no need to dwell on hatred. They should cherish everything they had now, and the Blood Pond clan, having experienced hardship, cherished everything they had now more than anyone else. "You're not Fugaku Uchiha?" Seeing that Miyagi Sharaman didn't intend to attack him, sat down as well. After a moment of silence, he finally decided to ask, "Who exactly is that Mangekyou Sharingan?" His hands clenched tightly. The Uchiha clan's current predicament was partly due to the policies implemented by the second Hokage, and partly due to Uchiha Shin, that man who stirred up trouble in the ninja world. "I don't know either." Miyagi Sharaman shook his head and sighed. That Mangekyou Sharingan always wears a mask, no one knows his true identity. As someone who already knew about Prince Shun's disguise, he had rehearsed his story with Prince Shun yesterday. Whatever the blame, pin it all on Konoha. Our Blood Pond clan originally thought we were going to be wiped out, but we were taken away by the leader of the Akatsuki, said Maya Sharaman with a relieved tone. That's an organization that yearns for peace and loves public welfare. So we were taken to the land of whirlpools. You should know that the land of whirlpool seems to be cooperating with the Akatsuki. They've been working to find a path to bring hope and peace to this chaotic ninja world. If you don't know, you can go and see for yourself in the land of whirlpools. Maya Sharaman smiled at Uchiha Fugaku. You'll see how the land of whirlpools is different from other countries. You'll like it here. Then, Uchiha Fugaku paused after hearing Maya Sharaman's words. He knew about the relationship between the Akatsuki and the land of whirlpools, or rather, most ninja villages in the ninja world knew that the powerful organization seemed to have a very close relationship with the land of whirlpools. Finally, he sighed and said regretfully, "Does nobody know?" He had originally thought that he could find out about the Mangekyou Sharingan that had brought the Uchiha clan to its current state here. If we could find him, perhaps we could capture him with our own Mangekyou Sharingan? But now, no one knows. No. Miyagi shook his head, frowning as he said, according to Akatsuki's information, that Mangekyou Sharingan does indeed belong to Konoha. And it seems he only has one Mangekyou Sharingan. Sigh. These are all things His Highness soon told him to say. Anyway, he just needs to smear Konoha no matter what. One-eyed, Mangekyou Sharingan? Upon hearing this, Fugaku Uchiha frowned and muttered. Who could it be? Konoha. Only the Uchiha clan in Konoha could awaken a Mangekyo Sharingan, but even now, with the Uchiha clan in such a state, the Mangekyo Sharingan still hasn't appeared, so... Uchiha Shin, Konoha. Fugaku Uchiha clenched his fists, his face contorted with rage as he growled, I will find it. Calm down, calm down. Seeing Fugaku Uchiha's expression, Maya Shiraman felt a chill run down his spine and quickly said, those of us in this line of work must always have a smile on our faces, we can't let our emotions affect our work. Eh? Fugaku Uchiha paused, took a deep breath, and resumed his poker face, saying, I'm sorry. It's alright, I understand. Maya Shiraman shook his head with a wry smile and said, back then, our Blood Pond clan. Now, only a dozen or so members remain. Eh? Uchiha. Fugaku Uchiha was at a loss for words after Maya Shiraman's words. It's alright. Miyajima waved his hand and said with a smile, we served different masters back then, let bygones be bygones. Now we are all part of the land of whirlpools, so there's no need to worry. Thank you. Uchiha Fugaku breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. If the Uchiha and Blood Pond clans were to clash now, he wondered what Lord Shun would do. After all, the Blood Pond clan arrived in the land of whirlpools earlier than the Uchiha clan. Is there anything I can do? Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath, hiding the hatred in his heart. Now, settling the Uchiha clan was what he, as the clan head, should do. Miyajima pondered for a moment and said, these next few days, familiarize yourself with the work procedures, accompany the patrol officers on patrols around the area, and get acquainted with the environment. Okay. Uchiha Fugaku nodded. He wanted to see exactly what the difference was between the police and the guards in the land of whirlpools. Then I'll head out to work. Uchiha Fugaku stood up and said, I'll have the Uchiha clan be careful. It's alright. Miyagi Shiraman smiled and nodded, saying, someone will guide you on your mission outside, so don't be nervous. By the way, watching Uchiha Fugaku's departing figure, Miyagi Shiraman suddenly remembered something and asked, how much did the Uchiha borrow from that black-faced devil? That heartless devil, the interest is really snowballing. Alone? Uchiha Fugaku turned his head in confusion, looking at Miyagi Shiraman, and said, the Uchiha clan didn't take out any loans. When we came, His Highness Jin told us to bring some money, so the Uchiha clan doesn't need any loans now. It's a pity that they couldn't get the most valuable land deeds in Konoha. And, hearing Uchiha Fugaku's words, Miyagi Shiraman stared blankly at his departing figure, and then, this is outrageous. A wail echoed throughout the office. Danzo sighed, looking at the Uchiha clan chief before him, his hands gripping a long sword tightly as he plunged it into his own stomach. He hadn't intended to do anything, so why did he commit suicide? And to kill his entire clan, truly a ruthless man. When the ambush tried to take the Uchiha clan members' bodies away, Danzo used the Hokage's name to bring them all to root. The Sharingan. Danzo sighed, saying, it's truly enviable. The wood release of the god of shinobi, the Mangekyo Sharingan of the god of shinobi's opponent. Both were bloodstains coveted by the entire shinobi world, but since the first Hokage left with Madara, no one had appeared. Oh, wait. The deceased Senju clan chief had also awakened wood release at the last moment. Danzo walked to the Uchiha clan chief, looking at his closed eyes. When he first saw him, the Uchiha clan chief had been facing away from him, and then, he committed suicide after saying only a few words. What a pity for those eyes. Looking at the Uchiha clan leader's closed eyes, Danzo touched his own bandaged right eye and murmured, since that's the case, leave them for me. Let these eyes continue to protect Konoha. He reached out and pried open the Uchiha clan leader's eyes. The result. Danzo stared wide-eyed at the Uchiha clan leader's eyes, exclaiming in disbelief, Mangekyo Sharingan. That's right, what lay before him wasn't the original Uchiha clan leader's 3-tomo Rinnegan, but an eye with 3 tomo spinning and connecting to form a windmill shape. But why is there only one? Danzo frowned, muttering as he looked at the empty eye socket on the other side. Chapter 2. Chapter 212 Heroes of Konoha. The Land of Whirlpools. Afternoon. Don't be nervous. The young man handed Uchiha Fugaku the bottle of water, saying, our mission won't be difficult. Just protect the land of whirlpools and serve the people. Looking at the hard-working civilians in the distance, a slight smile appeared on his lips. They understand some things better than we do. Everyone lives freely and equally under the law. Although the land of whirlpools is a country based on law, There are some differences in sentiment and customs. You don't need to worry. The young man patted Uchiha Fugaku's shoulder, saying, "You'll get used to it after a while." "Thank you." Uchiha Fugaku took the water, glanced at the bottle, and said expressionlessly, "How much?" "No need, no need." The young man smiled and shook his head. "Consider it a treat from your senior. The Uchiha clan hasn't changed. Always so serious and earnest." Hearing the young man's words, Uchiha Fugaku narrowed his eyes, his three-tomo Sharingan automatically activating. He put down the water bottle and stared at him. How did this ordinary police officer know his identity? Had His Highness let the entire land of whirlpools know? However, don't be nervous. The young man, seeing Fugaku Uchiha's tense expression, paused for a moment, then smiled and said, "You haven't introduced yourself yet." "Moshu Miyaji, a member of the Blood Pond clan." Blood Pond. Fugaku Uchiha's eyes widened. Although the bureau chief said the Blood Pond clan had long forgotten everything the Uchiha clan had done to them, it didn't mean their subordinates would let go of their hatred. So, he was still somewhat worried. "Don't worry." Moshu spread his hands to indicate he meant no harm, saying, "The Blood Pond clan doesn't want to live in hatred forever." Of course, that was on the premise that the Uchiha clan became citizens of the land of whirlpools. "I'm sorry." Fugaku Uchiha withdrew his Sharingan, picked up the water in his hand, and said calmly, "I will also restrain the Uchiha clan." "No need." Moshu shook his head, about to say something when a little girl ran over. "Daddy." She hugged Moshu's leg. "Yuko." Zongxiu picked up his daughter, his face full of affection, patted her little head, and smiled. "What are you doing here? Where's mommy?" "Mommy?" Yuko looked around in confusion, then turned her head happily and said, "Coming." "Really?" A long-haired woman ran over, pinched Yuko's face, and said sternly, "Why are you running around? Don't you know your father is still on official business?" "I miss Daddy." Yuko hugged Zongxiu's neck tightly, turned her head unhappily, and said, "Mommy, you're annoying." "Fine. Since you say mommy's annoying." Just as the mother heard this and rolled up her sleeves, ready to pinch Yuko's face, "It's okay." Zongxiu shook his head, "I can rest for a while." Then, he pointed to Uchiha Fugaku next to him and said to Yuko, "This is your Uncle Fugaku." "Hello, Uncle Fugaku." Yuko said sweetly, then took out a piece of candy from her pocket. "Yuko will give you some candy." And Uchiha Fugaku. His expression froze. He was only a teenager, still a boy, not even married yet. How could he be an uncle? But as a member of the Uchiha clan, he was only slightly taken aback by this small matter. He nodded and said, "Hello." His mother also greeted Fugaku, then picked up Yuko, squinting her eyes as she said, "Come with mommy, Daddy has work to do." Ignoring Yuko's wailing, she apologized to Fugaku and Saoshu before leaving with her. "Haha." Saoshu smiled warmly at the sight, saying, "I'm sorry you had to see this." "No." Fugaku shook his head, saying softly, "She's very cute." Looking at the red candy in his hand, a smile unconsciously appeared on his lips. Back in Konoha, no child would ever treat the Uchiha clan like this. Yes. Saoshu looked up at the setting sun, smiling. The Blood Pond clan cherishes their current life, so we don't mention the past to the next generation, any grudges, hatred. Let it end with our generation. As long as they live happily, that's enough, Konoha. The corpses of the Uchiha clan. Hirozen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette, narrowed his eyes at Danzo, and said, "No matter what, they sacrificed themselves for Konoha, so let them be buried as soon as possible." His good friend had suddenly taken away the corpses of the Uchiha clan. What was he planning? "I know," Danzo nodded, his face serious. "But after investigating, we discovered that a group of Uchiha clan members are missing. Rude and the Anbu also thoroughly investigated and found they weren't in the village." "What about recent records of them leaving the village?" Hirozen Sarutobi frowned upon hearing this, saying, "Perhaps the Uchiha clan simply planned to leave some bloodlines behind and moved away." "We've already investigated," Danzo shook his head, saying, "There are no records of the Uchiha clan leaving the village recently, and most of them have returned." "You mean?" Hirozen Sarutobi seemed to realize something, narrowing his eyes. "Someone secretly took them away? And those taken were women and children. Who could it be?" "It's not clear yet." Danzo touched his eye, shook his head, and said, "But I'll investigate carefully. Perhaps it really is related to that Mangekyo Sharingan?" Among the pile of Uchiha corpses, not only was the Uchiha clan leader missing an eye, but the 3 Tomo Sharingan of 3 Uchiha elders had also been removed. So, who is it? Or perhaps Uchiha Shin was the Uchiha clan leader, and as for why he killed his clansmen and committed suicide, perhaps it was because he loved this village so deeply. Moreover, Danzo knew in his heart that the Uchiha clan leader's remaining Mangekyou Sharingan absolutely could not be known to his best friend, otherwise, who knows what kind of accident might occur. Sigh. Hiruzen Sarutobi nodded helplessly and said, everything is in your hands now. Konoha is at a critical moment. Any place where accidents might occur must be carefully considered. I will protect Konoha. Danzo nodded, speaking earnestly. You are the light of Konoha, I am the darkness of Konoha. We are both indispensable parts of Konoha. For some reason, hearing Danzo's words, Hiruzen Sarutobi felt an urge to kill someone. Damn it, just take the blame. You've changed, old friend, become shameless, and even more insidious. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed, saying wistfully, so, what should we do with the Uchiha clan now? Was he asking for advice? Danzo looked at Hiruzen Sarutobi speechlessly. You yourself have already considered this, and you still want me to offer suggestions? Isn't this just making me take the blame? Take the blame for being cold-blooded and ruthless. But, as the Dark One of the ninjas, he had no choice but to speak up. This was a deal involving the corpses of the Uchiha clan. Take over the Uchiha clan's lands to the village, Danzo sneered. And spread the word that the Uchiha clan's fate was because they plotted a coup. Isn't that too harsh? Hiruzen Sarutobi hesitated, his right hand gripping his pipe. The Uchiha clan was a powerful clan in Konoha, no matter what. No, not harsh at all. This is the fate traitors deserve. Danzo shook his head. Hiruzen, you're too kind. Since that's the case. Hiruzen Sarutobi paused, then reluctantly conceded, we'll do as you say, but the Uchiha clan leader will be honored as a Konoha hero. Because he didn't want internal strife in Konoha, he personally slaughtered the entire Uchiha clan and then committed suicide. At the same time, the Uchiha clan's lands will be taken over by the village and distributed in the Hokage's name to ninjas who have made significant contributions to the village, or to impoverished villagers. Remember, everything we do is for Konoha. Chapter 1. Chapter 213. Perhaps it's time to find a job. November, year 32 of Konoha. Due to coup d'etat launched by the Uchiha clan, a powerful clan in Konoha, the Uchiha clan chief, unable to bear seeing Konoha suffer from internal strife, personally executed the entire Uchiha clan. He then committed suicide before the Hokage, pleading for the Hokage's forgiveness. The Hokage, moved by the Uchiha clan's many years of service to Konoha, followed the clan chief's wishes, posthumously honoring him as a Konoha hero. The Uchiha clan's lands were reclaimed by the village, to be distributed equitably to ninjas who had contributed to Konoha or to impoverished villagers. Immediately, the village was filled with joy, anti-war sentiment subsided, and the Hokage received numerous praises. Merciful, kind, and compassionate, this was the reputation of the Konoha Kage. Meanwhile, in the middle of the month, Konoha issued a 5-Kage summit to the other 4 major ninja villages, the theme of which was to discuss the future of the ninja world and guide it towards a righteous peace. The meeting venue is tentatively set for the Land of Rain. However, due to the Uchiha clan incident, the Hokage of Konoha cannot leave the village to participate in the meeting, and Orochimaru, the Hokage's disciple, will temporarily attend. Uzumaki soon looked at this morning's Shinobi World Morning News, a newspaper published by a newspaper company in the Land of Whirlpools. It is mainly divided into the Shinobi World News and the Land of Whirlpools National News. The Shinobi World News mainly reports on major events in the Shinobi world, as well as the situation of the 5 major countries and their Shinobi villages, while the Land of Whirlpools National News mainly focuses on domestic development, some policies, and future changes. Truly impressive. Uzumaki soon looked at the news from Konoha and clicked his tongue, saying with admiration, no wonder he is the longest-serving Kage in Konoha's history. It's not just because he has a professional scapegoat, he also has some skill. I wonder how the Uchiha clan will react when they see this? Uzumaki soon sighed, this feud. It's gotten too big. 5-Kage Summit. Uzumaki soon looked at the 4 words on the newspaper and murmured, looks like we have to be prepared. Otherwise, how will the Land of Whirlpools sell its bladed weapons? The Land of Whirlpools finance minister is currently in the Land of Rain promoting bladed weapons. I wonder how big a deal Kokuzu can land. Uzumaki soon stroked his chin, squinted, and said, "Probably quite a lot. But the land of Whirlpool still has too few workers, especially ninjas. They're in dire need. Some departments are even spending their own money to poach people with high salaries. Manpower. Manpower." Uzumaki-jun sighed helplessly, muttering, "It seems we'll have to sneak out and recruit more people when the ninja villages start fighting again." Some time passed, and the Uchiha clan basically settled down in the land of whirlpools. Everything was as Lord Jun had promised. They hadn't experienced any discrimination or threats. Plus, they had taken some money with them when they left, so the Uchiha clan was doing quite well. "Looks like I need to keep those brats in check." Uchiha Fugaku shook his head helplessly, muttering, "Otherwise, things will get complicated." Because of the great calamity that befell the Uchiha clan, most of the survivors had awakened the Sharingan. Uchiha Fugaku believed that the Uchiha clan would definitely become powerful again in the future, even stronger than the Senju clan, who were still doing manual labor. What idiots, leaving without a single penny. A cold smile crept across Uchiha Fugaku's lips. These past few days, while on patrol, he'd encountered Senju Hideaki, a former elite jonin of Konoha, now a construction was in the land of whirlpools. A dozen or so kids. Truly impressive. Uchiha Fugaku narrowed his eyes, a strange urge to laugh stirring within him. This time, their Uchiha clan had won. However, precisely because most of the kids had awakened their Sharingan, they'd become somewhat arrogant and cocky. As the clan head, he'd been summoned to meet with his parents several times by the affiliated elementary school in the land of whirlpools. The land of whirlpools had a strict rule of respecting teachers. So Uchiha Fugaku couldn't say anything. After all, he was still a teenager, not even married yet, and already a parent. What could he possibly say? Then, for some reason, word got back to Senju Hideaki, and recently that bastard had been mocking him in front of him. "If all else fails, we'll just have to beat them up," Fugaku Uchiha said helplessly. "Otherwise, I don't know how many times I'd have to run to the school." In the end, they still retained the Uchiha name and didn't change their names. This was also because of the special nature of the Sharingan. It would activate if emotions fluctuated too much, so it wouldn't last long. Prince Soon simply didn't ask them to change their surnames. He just told them to be careful. "Officer Fugaku, so early?" Before he knew it, Fugaku Uchiha had walked to the farmland. An old man in his 60s waved to him cheerfully and said, "Want to have breakfast?" "No, I still need to carry out a mission." Fugaku Uchiha forced an awkward smile and said, "I've already eaten, you can have some." He still wasn't used to smiling. Although at first, these civilians from the land of whirlpools thought that Fugaku, with his cold expression, was difficult to get along with. After spending time with him, they realized that this officer was just a bit expressionless and actually quite nice. "Alright, thank you for your hard work." The old man didn't seem to mind, still cheerfully saying, "Come over and have a glass of water, is that alright?" Then, he had his grandson pour a glass of water for Uchiha Fugaku. Uchiha Fugaku thought for a moment, then said to the chubby little boy in front of him, "Thank you." He took the water, drank it all, and turned to leave. But as he turned, a smile involuntarily crept onto his lips. It really is as the director said. The land of whirlpools is different. The higher the chakra intensity, the faster the speed, the greater the power. Madara sat on the stone bench, watching Zilu throwing punches not far away, and said calmly, "So it's not enough, still not enough. Increase the chakra fluctuations further." Hearing Madara's words, Zilu gritted his teeth, channeled some more chakra into his body, endured the pain, and shouted loudly, "Ah!" Then, he continued to attack the trees in front of him. "That's right, hold on, this is the maximum chakra you can withstand right now." Madara nodded and said, "If a Taijutsu-type ninja wants to become stronger, the pain they endure is 10 times, 100 times, more than other ninjas. If you think it hurts too much and you can't bear it, then give up. A ninja. It's not that easy." "I won't give up." Zijin shouted loudly, increasing the force in his hand, and swung it out. A tree the size of a bowl in front of him. Crack. It broke. "Take a rest." Madara nodded in satisfaction and said lightly, "Still too weak." Hearing Madara's words, Zijin lay down on the ground, panting heavily, and said, "Thank you, Grandpa." "How?" Madara chuckled coldly, ignoring Zijin. "By the way, Grandpa, with such strong taijutsu, Why don't you become a professor at the academy? Zijin didn't care. After spending time with him, although he still didn't know his name, he already knew that the old man in front of him was a kind person with a cold exterior but a warm heart. The land of whirlpools is currently lacking taijutsu instructors, Shiki murmured. They were only teaching basic taijutsu right now. Professor? Madara frowned upon hearing Shiki's words, muttering, looks like he's a taijutsu instructor. For the past few days, Tobi has been the breadwinner. As a former shinobi who went toe-to-toe with the god of shinobi, Madara felt ashamed. Although Tobi was merely a tool he created, the strong have their dignity. So, perhaps finding a job wouldn't be bad, Madara murmured. Chapter 2. I've been writing this paper for days and my liver hurts, so I'm taking a break. There's a third chapter coming. Chapter 214. For the sake of peace in the ninja world, we have no choice but to attack the Land of Rain. The Land of Rain. This 5-cage summit didn't include the other smaller ninja villages. Tisk, that old monkey Hirozen Saratobi is quite the big shot. The Raikage looked displeased at Orochimaru sitting in the Hokage's seat and said, he doesn't even participate in the 5-cage summit. It seems this pale-faced guy is the next Hokage. Raikage-sama, Orochimaru licked his lips, looking at the Raikage without fear, and said calmly, my teacher simply couldn't come because of some matters in the village. How? The Raikage sneered disdainfully, then I wonder if you have the authority to represent the Hokage? Pale-faced brat. Don't worry, Orochimaru shrugged, not angry, and said, sitting here is my temporary assumption of the Hokage's authority. He glanced at Jiraiya beside him. As long as the two of them were here, he wasn't afraid of any cage. Of course, if they attacked together, that was another story. Since that's the case, the Kazekage said calmly, seeing that the atmosphere had been set enough, how will Konoha compensate us? Compensation? Orochimaru smiled, a cold glint flashing in his eyes, and said, Konoha hasn't been defeated, nor has it done anything outrageous. What compensation are you talking about? How? The Kazekage sneered, in that case, what did Konoha want us to come here for? Why don't we go back and wait for them to storm Konoha's gates before we talk? I called you all here, of course, so that everyone can maintain peace in the ninja world. So there are a few things that must be made clear. First, that Mangekyo Sharingan doesn't belong to Konoha. Orochimaru placed his hands on the table and smiled. The legendary weapon wasn't stolen by Konoha either. Konoha doesn't even know if what you're saying is true. And through the Uchiha clan. Orochimaru licked his lips, you all know now. Indeed, we know. That Tsuchikage narrowed his eyes and said, Konoha is truly ruthless. They even attacked the Uchiha clan, who founded Konoha and made great contributions, without hesitation. It was the Uchiha clan head who did it. Orochimaru said with a smile, so what you wanted Konoha to do, Konoha has already done. How? Hearing Orochimaru's words, the 4-cage fell silent. Especially the Mizukage. He was just here to observe. Kirigakure had no intention of participating in the war. But what does this have to do with us? The Raikage said, shirtless. If you don't return our weapons, then go back and wait for us to fight our way over and get them ourselves. Lord Raikage, don't be nervous, Orochimaru said with a smile. Let me finish. Then, he gestured for Jiraiya to unfold the map of the ninja world and pointed to the Land of Rain. Look around, everyone. If you continue to attack Konoha, your losses will be even greater. The Land of Rain borders 3 great nations, the Land of Fire, the Land of Wind, and the Land of Earth. Due to the long-standing wars, even if a demigod of the ninja world appears in the Rain village. Orochimaru scanned the expressions of the 4-cage and said, the Land of Rain remains a small country. It has no possibility of becoming powerful. However, according to the investigations of the Konoha ninja, the Rain village seems to be gradually gathering the common people of the Land of Rain. Orochimaru licked his lips, narrowed his eyes, and said, this means that Hanzo of the Salamander wants to end the internal strife in the Land of Rain. Orochimaru absolutely refused to believe that the internal strife in the Land of Rain wasn't orchestrated by the 3 great nations. After all, the Land of Rain could be considered a buffer zone between the 3 nations. A chaotic country is more conducive to peace on the borders of the 3 nations. You don't want a 6th great ninja village to appear, do you? Orochimaru said with a smile. Besides, if things continue like this, Konoha will fight with all its might, and no one will be happy in the end. It might even slap. Orochimaru slapped the map showing the Land of Rain and said, Let the Land of Rain take advantage of the situation and become the sixth great nation, the sixth great ninja village. So, stop targeting Konoha, let's attack the Land of Rain. For the sake of peace in the ninja world, there absolutely cannot be a sixth great nation, a sixth great ninja village, otherwise the balance of the ninja world will be broken. The Hidden Rain Village. Hanzo of the Salamander gazed intently at the Land of Rain through the misty rain, muttering, the 5-cage summit should have started by now. Hanzo of the Salamander was furious that Konoha looked down on the Hidden Rain Village, only allowing the 5 great ninja villages to participate. No matter what, his Hidden Rain Village was also part of the attack on Konoha. Konoha actually looked down on the Hidden Rain Village even after surrendering. It was truly outrageous. It seems the war is over. Hanzo of the Salamander sighed, a hint of regret in his eyes. The chance for the Land of Rain to rise to power is gone. No one knew Konoha would be so ruthless, wiping out the 2 great clans that created Konoha, the Uchiha clan. What a pity. Hanzo clenched his fists, his face contorted with rage. What a pity. He had prepared for so long, bought so many weapons, gathered so many civilians, but in the end, it was all for nothing. Lord Hanzo, A Rain Ninja hesitated before speaking. Is there anything we should do? Most of the Rain Ninja felt a deep sense of regret and disappointment. They could have seized this opportunity to rise and become the 6th great ninja village, but instead, Konoha was truly treacherous. Hanzo of the Salamander paused for a moment, then sighed and said, forget it. If we make a move, we might be facing the 4 great ninja villages. So this time, he seemed to have used all his strength and said helplessly, let's give up. Pass down the order to have the men gather their defenses and prepare to retreat. Now, the Rain Village can only wait for them to leave, then take the opportunity to quell the internal strife, and wait for the next chance to announce to the ninja world. The Land of Rain has risen. Yes. Although somewhat regretful, the Rain Village still nodded and accepted the order. The Land of Whirlpools. Maya Sherman stretched. He'd left work early today, so he decided to go home later and stroll around the shopping district first. Because of the recent overtime work, he hadn't had a proper rest, so, let's eat something good today, Maya Sherman yawned, muttering, otherwise, I'll have to work overtime again in a few days. The Land of Whirlpools knew about the 5-cage summit, so according to Lord Soon's guess, the ninja world would become even more chaotic in a few days. Therefore, the Land of Whirlpools had to be wary of invasions from other ninja villages or wandering ninjas. Furthermore, because of Konoha's actions, the entire Uchiha clan was mentally unstable, especially Uchiha Fugaku, who had become somewhat gloomy because of Konoha's propaganda about the Uchiha clan. He'd been put on sick leave to see a psychologist for the past few days. Hopefully, nothing bad would happen. The ramen shop of the Land of Whirlpools. Looking at the expanded ramen shop in front of him, Maya Sherman decided to have a bowl of hot ramen before going back to teach that brat a lesson. He'd heard that Maya Sherman would be graduating in about a month. A slight smile appeared on Maya Sherman's lips. That brat's been quite well behaved at school lately, hasn't caused any more trouble. At first, Maya Sherman was making a fuss about not wanting to go to school, but after being forced to attend, he caused trouble again, making the head of the Land of Whirlpools affairs run around several times. It was truly embarrassing. Then, Maya Sherman looked up at the newly expanded ramen shop, especially at the blackboard at the entrance. New products. 1. Secret Recipe Pig Blood Ramen 2. Secret Recipe Duck Blood Ramen 3. Spicy Mayo Xerwang. Looks like there are new ramen dishes. Maya Sherman murmured. I'll try them today. Chapter 3. Chapter 215 Becoming a Teacher. Late November, year 32 of Konoha. Winter arrived. The major ninja villages began to tighten their defenses, especially the Anti-Konoha Alliance, a hastily formed alliance of smaller ninja villages to coerce Konoha into returning its weapons. This alliance instantly fell silent, and most began recalling their ninjas. After all, with the 3 great ninja villages ceasing their fighting, why should they join in? Continuing would mean ending up like the Sky Village and the Kojiro Village, so, they had to back down. As for the common people of the ninja world, the war's greatest impact was on these impoverished people who had no control over their own destinies. Hunger and cold remained their most terrifying demons. In early December of the same year, while the smaller ninja villages were withdrawing their forces, the 3 great ninja villages did not withdraw from the Land of Rain. Instead, led by Konoha, The three great ninja villages simultaneously declared war on the Rain village in order to maintain peace in the ninja world, assist the land of Rain in quelling its internal strife, and bring hope of peace to its people. It's said that when Hanzo the Salamander, the leader of Omegacure, learned of this news, he was so enraged he wanted to kill someone. He publicly denounced the three rogue ninja villages, arguing that they had no right to interfere in the internal affairs of another country and that the land of Rain didn't need their help. It's said that Hanzo the Salamander was so foul-mouthed that he practically wanted to fight Hiruzen Sarutobi with a sickle and axe. Truly, trouble comes from nowhere. Everyone had agreed to work together to cut down trees, but before a year had passed, the three major ninja villages were attacking Omegacure, and the remaining smaller villages were just cheering from behind. Konoha really has a clever scheme. They directly shifted the conflict onto Omegacure. Hanzo the Salamander had something he didn't know whether to say. But he knew that reasoning with them was pointless now. The three major ninja villages only wanted to talk about ninjutsu. So, around mid-December of the same year, Hanzo the Salamander officially declared war on the three major ninja villages. To protect his country and his village, he, the leader of Omegacure, would not compromise and would fight the evil forces to the end. It's said that under Hanzo the Salamander's side, slogan, the entire Rain village has shown unprecedented unity, with almost all the people participating in the war, the land of Rain. Damn it. Hanzo the Salamander stared at the constantly arriving intelligence reports, his face ashen. The situation in Rain village wasn't as good as he'd thought. Although they'd purchased a large number of infinity gauntlets from Akatsuki, Tsunagakure had them too. The land of Rain couldn't gain any advantage at all, and could only barely hold on. So, foreign aid. Hanzo the Salamander sighed, muttering, "We must find foreign aid from the land of Rain. Otherwise, even if he called himself a demigod of the ninja world, Hanzo the Salamander, he would only end up being turned into pickled fish by the three great ninja villages." But where could he find foreign aid now? He dared not approach the land of whirlpools, for the mere thought of how badly Konoha had been betrayed, forced to sell out its powerful clans for peace, filled him with unease. After all, Omegacure, a poor place, had no powerful clans to sell. "Lord Hanzo, the Akatsuki members are here again." At that moment, an Omegacure ninja entered, respectfully saying, "Should we let him in? Akatsuki?" Hanzo's eyes suddenly lit up, and he quickly shouted, "Let him in, quickly, let him in." If the Akatsuki could help, a person possessing the legendary Rinnegan, and a legendary ninja who could fight the god of shinobi to a standstill, perhaps Omegacure could truly rise to become the sixth greatest ninja village in this battle. Thinking of this, Hanzo felt a surge of excitement. "I wonder if the Akatsuki can grant us credit, the land of whirlpools." As expected, Uzumaki soon looked at this morning's newspaper, a slight smile appearing on his lips. He murmured, "In the end, it's still the land of Rain taking on the three great ninja villages one-on-one. When a conflict can't be resolved, the solution is to shift it. With Konoha being the strongest ninja village no matter what, and possessing what's considered the strongest cage, the other ninja villages didn't dare push too hard. In this battle, Konoha lost two powerful clans, and the two strongest clans in Konoha at that, so the three great ninja villages were already satisfied. However, I have no idea when they'll actually make their move." Uzumaki soon sighed helplessly, putting down the newspaper. Winter had arrived, but fortunately, the land of whirlpools had vigorously developed its textile industry in recent years. With the invention of the chakra battery, the chakra steam engine had also been developed, a leap forward for the textile industry. The land of whirlpools had no shortage of cloth, and even exported a considerable amount. Therefore, it was a good time to continue developing its national strength while the land of whirlpools was relatively peaceful, especially with the first graduating class of the land of whirlpools affiliated academy about to graduate. "I've been quite busy lately." Knock knock. Just as Uzumaki-jun was pondering how to develop the land of whirlpools in the next few years, a knock sounded at the door. "Come in." Uzumaki-jun looked at Uzumaki Hibiki as she entered and asked, "What is it?" "News has come from below," Uzumaki Hibiki said respectfully. "That white-haired old man you asked us to keep an eye on seems to have gone for an academy interview." "What did you say?" Uzumaki-jun picked at his ear, looking at Uzumaki Hibiki with disbelief. You, say that again?" "Who went for an interview?" "That old man with age spots." "What should I do?" Uchiha Mikoto wandered aimlessly through the land of whirlpools. She had been here for almost half a month. Since she had already graduated from the Konoha Ninja Academy, she hadn't gone to the Land of Whirlpool's affiliated elementary school with the other children. Regardless, she was a certified graduate, but she probably wouldn't be able to wear the Konoha headband anymore. So she wanted to find something to do, but she discovered that although ninjas in the Land of Whirlpools received subsidies, most of the jobs were unsuitable for her. Furthermore, because the new clan leader had taken some inheritance with him when he left, the Uchiha clan members lived quite comfortably in the Land of Whirlpools, unlike the Senju clan, who were working themselves to the bone to pay off their mortgages. Uchiha Mikado had seen the Senju clan before, so she knew about their situation. I've heard that the Senju clan chief carried 3 loads of bricks to pay off his mortgage, and I've also heard that the finance minister of the Land of Whirlpools is terrifying, a ruthless debt collector wielding a machete. Just as Uchiha Mikado was lost in thought, "Hey, little girl over there." An elderly woman with a cane approached and asked casually, "Where's the Land of Whirlpool's affiliated academy?" "Oh, sorry." Uchiha Mikado snapped out of her reverie and looked at the old woman, saying, "Just follow this road, then turn right onto the side road, go to the fork in the road, turn left, and then you'll see it." Uchiha Mikado looked at the old woman curiously. So old and still going to the academy? Was she going to pick up her grandson? How envious. Her family had died when she was very young, and she had been raised by her clan. Is it that far? The old man frowned, muttering, "Looks like it'll be a long walk. Need any help?" Uchiha Mikado smiled and said, "I'm free now, I can take you." The old man glanced at Uchiha Mikado indifferently, then nodded, saying expressionlessly, "Sure." Then, "Grandpa, what are you going to the academy for? To pick up your grandson?" Uchiha Mikado asked curiously as she led the way. The old man, still expressionless, said, "To become a teacher." Chapter 1. Chapter 216. "Grandpa, you're too old." A Uzumaki ninja looked at the white-haired old man with a wry smile. This old man was even older than their Uzumaki clan's elder. He was trembling and leaning on a cane, and he was applying for a teaching job. And a taijutsu teacher at that. Was he trying to scam someone? "Please don't make things difficult for us," the Uzumaki ninja said helplessly. "At your age, you really shouldn't be moving around." He couldn't even walk properly, how could he teach taijutsu? How? Madara looked at him disdainfully. A mere chunin wasn't worthy of his explanation. So, "Hey, you little black-haired girl over there," the Uzumaki ninja looked at the silent old man, thinking he was embarrassed, and called out to Uchiha Mikado, "Quickly take your grandfather back. He's so old, he walks so shakily, can't you buy him a wheelchair? There are subsidies for buying wheelchairs in the Land of Whirlpools at this age, don't worry about the price being too high." But, calm down, calm down. Madara Uchiha took a deep breath, inwardly reassuring himself not to make a move. This was the Land of Whirlpools, and the chunin wasn't wrong, he was indeed old. Mikado Uchiha, standing nearby, was stunned by the ninja's words. She wasn't this old man's granddaughter at all. Although she inwardly agreed with the ninja, it was still too hurtful to his pride. Especially since he was such an old man, looking for work at his age, his family must be struggling. So, how pitiful. Just as she was about to explain, "Grandpa," a voice suddenly came from inside. Everyone immediately turned to look behind them, where a boy with black hair and his hands tied in suspenders stepped out. "It's you, brat?" Madara Uchiha frowned at the boy who emerged, saying, "Why didn't you go to training today?" Was he considering giving up because the training was too tough? "Oh, I'm here today to apply for graduation," Zichin said, scratching the back of his head sheepishly. "Since I'm not a student at the academy, I can only come to see if I can register for the exam after all. Joining the army requires at least a Jonin level certificate." Uchiha Madara nodded slightly upon hearing this, saying nothing more, and turned back to look at the Uzumaki ninja in front of him. However, "Zichin, is this old man your grandfather?" the Uzumaki ninja asked curiously. "I remember you were adopted by Kita, weren't you? How did a grandfather appear?" "He's my taijutsu teacher," Zichin said cheerfully. "He taught me a lot of taijutsu. The taijutsu you used this morning, he taught you all," the Uzumaki ninja exclaimed in shock. Today, Zichin had come to the academy to take the exam and obtain a certificate, so he had indeed shown off his skills, astonishing everyone. In terms of taijutsu alone, Zichin was already far beyond that of an average Jonin. "Yes." Zijin nodded and said, "This old man is very strong." Immediately. "Hello, what's your name?" The Uzumaki ninja dared not doubt the old man before her any longer and quickly asked earnestly, "Could you show me your valid identification?" Uchiha Madara snorted coldly, looking at Zijin and saying, "I am not your teacher. You're too weak." Then, he took out his Uzumaki country citizenship identification and handed it over. "Madara. So your name is Madara." The Uzumaki ninja nodded and said, "After verification, you meet our academy's recruitment requirements, but because you are too old, we need to consult the vice principal. Please wait a moment." Then, he excitedly ran towards the academy. This was the Taijutsu-type ninja the academy desperately needed. Finally, a Taijutsu-type ninja had appeared in the Uzumaki country. It was truly a rare find. Therefore, he absolutely couldn't give up. Rain country. Come, please sit down, please sit down." Hanzo of the Salamander greeted the masked man with great enthusiasm upon his arrival. "You've come at just the right time. Now is a critical moment for the Land of Rain, and if they could get help from such a powerful organization, the Rain Village might actually have a chance to win." As for Kokuzu, seeing Hanzo's hospitality, he felt a surge of excitement. It seemed the Rain Village was facing a difficult situation. Was this enthusiasm a ploy to increase their orders and fight against the three great ninja villages? Thinking this, Kokuzu's expression softened. Perhaps he could secure another big deal this time? "Does your Akatsuki organization accept hires?" Hanzo asked with a smile. "You know the current situation in the Land of Rain, so I don't know." However, before Hanzo could finish speaking, "I'm sorry, our Akatsuki organization is an organization with lofty ideals and great goals, dedicated to protecting the peace of the ninja world." Kokuzu shook his head and refused. "Therefore, we will not participate in any war unless absolutely necessary." "I don't believe you." Although Hanzo the Salamander wore a smile, his heart was filled with contempt. An arms dealer organization dared to talk to him about peace in the ninja world. Did they really think his title of demigod of the ninja world was just for show? "So, we'll pay," Hanzo the Salamander said with a smile. "The reward will definitely satisfy the Akatsuki. This is also for the peace of the ninja world, after all. Money is extremely important for peace." Hearing Hanzo the Salamander's words, Kokuzu was immediately tempted. If there was money, he really couldn't agree. He was now the finance minister of the Land of Whirlpools. This wasn't something he could decide casually. "So, how much is a megacure planning to offer?" Kokuzu asked. "For the peace of the ninja world, the Akatsuki isn't incapable of intervening, but they must consult our leader." "Of course," Hanzo the Salamander said cheerfully, "of course, after all, it's such a big deal." But inwardly, he was filled with disdain. A peace organization? How laughable. Just a bunch of money-grubbing bastards. However, Hanzo of the Salamander hesitated for a moment, but still decided to ask. After all, a megacure's funds were somewhat insufficient. "I wonder if the Akatsuki could lend us money?" The result. Whoosh! Kokuzu stood up angrily, heading towards the door to leave. "No money? What are you talking to me about if you have no money? No one can take money from my pocket." Konoha. A megacure. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed, looking at the map on the table. Konoha had no choice. Hopefully, Orochimaru could redeem himself this time. Otherwise, without any notable achievements, how would he inherit the position of village chief? Moreover, the Senjo and Uchiha incident had made the other clans in the village behave themselves. So, striking a chord was quite effective, although the mountain ultimately crumbled. And the smaller ninja villages outside had begun to retreat, meaning the dire situation Konoha faced had finally been resolved. They no longer needed to worry about the three major ninja villages in front and the anti-Konoha alliance behind. All their forces were now freed up. Sacrificing one rain village can bring peace to the ninja world. It's worth it. Hiruzen Sarutobi murmured with a smile, "It's all for the ninja world. But, I wonder how Naoki is? Has he successfully awakened Wood Release? If there were another god of the shinobi world, that would be perfect." Chapter 2. That's all. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217. He's definitely a good comrade. The Land of Whirlpools. Uzumaki-jun frowned, looking at the message Kokuzu had just sent via hawk. In a ninja world where dogs and hawks were used for communication, the land of Whirlpool certainly had hawks. As for messenger dogs, currently, only the Uzumaki clan of Konoha could purchase them, but those they sold were all castrated versions, only capable of simple errands like delivering messages and fetching items. And those special ninja dogs? Konoha had regulations prohibiting their sale. Mercenaries? Uzumaki-jun put down the message, muttering, but if it's on credit, that's a bit troublesome. What if the Rain Village doesn't pay? After all, after the Second World War, Hanzo would weaken due to old age and loss of willpower, becoming a treacherous person. What if Hanzo of the Salamander simply refused to pay? Therefore, Uzumaki-jun dared not agree to this debt lightly. Moreover, war also went against the Akatsuki's ideals. After all, Akatsuki is a peaceful organization. If they become mercenaries, the 5 great shinobi villages will immediately intervene. No one wants to see a free mercenary group with a Rinnegan going toe-to-toe with a pseudo-god of shinobi. Therefore, maintaining neutrality is Akatsuki's lifeline. However, the Land of Rain is a major steel-producing country. Just look at the Land of Rain's future sewer system, it's all punk-style metal structures. So if the Land of Whirlpools could cooperate with the Land of Rain on development, they probably wouldn't lack steel. But the Land of Rain is ultimately too poor. Without enough miners, production is still too low, and there are also the 3 major shinobi villages eyeing them covetously. If things aren't handled properly, the Land of Whirlpools might become brothers in misfortune with the Land of Rain. But what should we do? Uzumaki-jun sighed. He still coveted such a large steel-producing base. Especially as the Land of Whirlpools gradually modernizes, its demand for steel will increase significantly. High-rise buildings, transportation, experimental equipment, sewage systems, and so on all require large quantities of steel. And the Infinity Gauntlet, sold overseas, also requires steel. Therefore, a stable steel supply base is absolutely essential for the Land of Whirlpools. Uzumaki-jun rubbed his forehead, his heart filled with conflict. A company's beliefs cannot be changed arbitrarily. The Akatsuki claims to be an organization that protects peace, so it can only be an organization that protects peace. If it changes its original beliefs for a little profit, how can it expect to attract strong individuals to apply? Therefore, the Akatsuki absolutely cannot intervene. Looks like I'll have to find a third party to handle this. Uzumaki-jun sighed softly, taking out a spore stored in his system. When in doubt about external affairs, consult Zetsu. Zetsu is a good comrade, he will definitely arrange everything perfectly for him. Konoha. Due to the annihilation of the Uchiha clan, no family wants to take over the village guard. While the title of protecting Konoha sounds prestigious, everyone in Konoha knows, it's a trap. Whoever takes it on might become the next Uchiha clan. Therefore, Konoha's order is a bit chaotic lately. Shops are haphazardly set up, and villagers are illegally occupying sidewalks to set up stalls, affecting the village's appearance and creating safety hazards. The Anbu has received many complaints from villagers recently. Hirozen Sarutobi said, taking a drag of his cigarette. It seems the village guard needs to be addressed quickly. Otherwise, spies from other villages might sneak in, which would be troublesome. Especially during wartime. Vigilance is always necessary. No family wants to take over the guard duties, Kahoru Udatane said, shaking her head helplessly. After all, the Uchiha clan's fate was too tragic. Sigh. Hirozen Sarutobi rubbed his forehead, looking troubled. What should we do? Leaving the guards empty like this isn't a solution. The village's image is extremely important. After all, Konoha is the head of the 5 great shinobi villages. Without a clean and tidy village environment, wouldn't it be a huge loss of face for the Hokage? How about the Sarutobi clan temporarily taking over the guard duties? Kahoru Udatane frowned, thinking for a moment, and said, that's the best solution right now. With the demise of the Senju and Uchiha clans, only the Hyuga, Sarutobi, and Shimura clans remain in Konoha, capable of intimidating the other clans and preventing them from causing trouble. Back then, the Uchiha clan relied on their prestige as Konoha's powerful clans and their stoic demeanor, to keep the other clans living obediently in the village, not daring to cause trouble. Therefore, the guards must be selected from clans with sufficient prestige and strength to prevent them from becoming lackeys of certain clans and exploiting the villagers. However, the Uchiha clan's guard force is already So it's estimated that apart from the Sarutobi clan, the Hokage's clan, other powerful clans wouldn't dare to take on the responsibility so easily. The Sarutobi clan? Upon hearing this, Hiruzen Sarutobi frowned and pondered for a moment. Finally, he sighed, shook his head, and said, the Sarutobi clan isn't suitable. During the Uchiha clan incident, I discovered a flaw in the village. Hiruzen Sarutobi stood up, put his right hand, which was holding his pipe, behind his back, and said wistfully, Konoha doesn't belong to one or two clans, but it belongs to everyone. Relying solely on one clan as the guard force easily leads to conflict between the clan and the village. Just like the Uchiha clan, why did the master choose the Uchiha clan as the guard force? Although the guard force has great power and status, it's far from the core of Konoha, and the work the guard force does is all about offending people. That's why everyone in the village hates the Uchiha clan in the end. But only in this way would the Uchiha clan lose the hearts of the people and be hated by the villagers, thus, no one would support them becoming Kage. Therefore, the guard force can no longer be solely controlled by one clan. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a drag of his cigarette and said helplessly, only by having all clans serve together can the conflicts within the village be reduced. Damn it. They want the Sarutobi clan to be part of the guard force? Would that ruin his reputation in his later years? What you say makes sense. Kahoryuta frowned upon hearing Hiruzen Sarutobi's words, thought for a moment, and finally nodded, saying, in that case, I will make the arrangements. December, Konoha year 32. To prevent a repeat of the Uchiha clan's tragedy, Konoha village made some modifications to its guard force policy, abolishing the system of a single clan continuously serving as guard force commanders, and replacing it with a system where all Konoha clans jointly control the force. This system not only eased the tense relationship between the guard force and the village, but also prevented a single clan from becoming too powerful. It was praised by all the clans of Konoha village. In the same month, the land of whirlpools. Grandpa Madara, Mikado Uchiha said, holding a cup of hot tea and looking at Madara Uchiha, who was reclining in a rocking chair basking in the sun. Today is the graduation ceremony for the first graduating class of the land of whirlpools. Aren't you going? Chapter 218 Graduation Ceremony in the Land of Whirlpools. December in the ninja world is still quite cold. However, thanks to the abundance and affordability of charcoal and cotton cloth in the land of whirlpools, most of the people living there can still feel a bit of warmth in this cold winter. Teacher Toby, move forward a bit more. Konan, leading Nagato and Yahiko, stood on tiptoe, constantly looking ahead, complaining, seriously, Teacher Toby, what kind of spot did you choose? I can't see anything at all. It wasn't me who chose it. Toby scratched the back of his head helplessly, saying, it was a sign from above. Our class's spot is here, and I can see it. Sigh. Hearing Toby's words, the three frogs sighed, shook their heads, and said, Teacher Toby, this won't do. Don't you realize we're still just kids? Seriously. Zionon pouted and looked at Afei unhappily, saying, I really can't see. There's nothing I can do. Afei spread his hands helplessly and said, the headmaster said we can't just wander around, and you guys are all too short. The three frogs looked at Afei expressionlessly. Teacher Afei. Zionon stood on tiptoe and patted Afei's shoulder, sighed, and said in a mature tone, Teacher Afei, you'll never find a girlfriend like this. He can't do anything, he's good at nothing. He can't draw, he's not sweet-talking, and besides being able to play, he has no other special talents. Who recruited him into the nursery? Could it be through connections? Girlfriend? Afei scratched the back of his head. What would he need that for? He just needed to keep Ben company. Then, he craned his neck to look down, a question swirling in his mind. Isn't Madara-sama a martial arts professor at the affiliated academy? Toby murmured to himself. Why haven't I seen him? He'd heard that Madara-sama hadn't officially taken up his post yet because graduation was approaching. He was currently familiarizing himself with the teaching process. Next year, Madara-sama would officially take over as the new student teacher. And it seemed the academy had even assigned Madara-sama a classroom dormitory room, free of charge. So Madara-sama hadn't gone home these past few days. He really missed Madara-sama. Sigh. Konan helplessly spread her hands. They were helpless with a teacher like this. Even more playful than them. So now they could only rely on themselves. She winked at Chihiko and Nagato, as if to say, want to go for a walk? Nagato, however, lay dejectedly on his chair. He just wanted to stay quietly. Why run around? Wasn't it better here? As for Yohiko, he shook his head and whispered, "This isn't good. What if we get caught?" But Konan put her hands on her hips, narrowed her eyes, and looked at them with a no candy if you don't behave expression. So, alright. Nagato and Yohiko nodded helplessly. Graduated? Madara Uchiha took the tea Mikado Uchiha handed him, took a sip, and said calmly, "Have you learned the fire release, Uchiha Taijutsu style, Uchiha ninja sword style, and Uchiha throwing techniques I taught you recently?" He hadn't expected that the Uchiha clan hadn't been wiped out by that monkey, but that some had escaped to the land of whirlpools. What a disgrace. If Hashirama had dared to treat the Uchiha clan like that back then, Madara Uchiha would have slapped him across the face long ago. Hashirama would have happily said, whatever you want, whatever you want. Unlike now, like a homeless hog, not many are left. Of course, at least better than the Senju clan. The Senju have even fewer left. So this time, the Uchiha clan has won against the Senju clan again. Uchiha Mikado scratched her head, saying embarrassedly, "I haven't learned it yet." What a waste. Uchiha Madara said indifferently, "This generation of Uchiha clan members is useless. They can't even learn such basic things." If it weren't for the fact that she was a member of the Uchiha clan and his assistant, he would have ignored her long ago. His assistant, Uchiha Madara's assistant, must be a strong person. "Grandpa Madara, how do you know so much about the Uchiha clan?" Uchiha Mikado asked curiously, "And you're so good at it." Uchiha Mikado was already immune to Grandpa Madara's words. She knew that Grandpa Madara was a kind grandfather who was tough on the outside but soft on the inside. However, Madara Uchiha glanced at Mikado Uchiha indifferently, said nothing, picked up his cane, stood up, and said, "Go see how that good-for-nothing, Shiki, is doing." Okay. Mikado Uchiha quickly packed her things when she heard that Madara was going to attend the graduation ceremony, and said, "Grandpa Madara, do you need a wheelchair? I'll push you there, it's quite far." However, HMPH. Lord Madara snorted coldly and said indifferently, "I'm not so old that I can't walk." The first graduation ceremony was very important for the land of whirlpools, because it marked the official growth of the new generation of the land of whirlpools. Of course, a certain overpowered character doesn't count. So early in the morning, not only did the Uzumaki clan head, the vice principal, come, but almost all the high-ranking members of the Uzumaki clan were present. As for the other clans, they only participated as parents. After the clan had finished reciting the history, present, and future of the land of whirlpools, the graduation ceremony officially began. Uzumaki-jun didn't simply copy the graduation exams from the ninja world. After all, the graduation exams at the Land of Whirlpools Ninja Academy weren't just about the three body techniques, they also included political ideology, basic mathematics, physics, and a whole host of other subjects. Students in the Land of Whirlpools were expected to develop morally, intellectually, and physically, cultivating correct values, worldviews, and a positive outlook on life from a young age. The goal was to nurture each student into a useful member of society, not a traitor who would kill their clan and their teacher. Otherwise, no matter how intelligent you were, you wouldn't contribute to the country and might even endanger society. Therefore, political and ideological education was extremely important in the Land of Whirlpools. However, the Uchiha clan's ideology was too extreme. Uzumaki-jun rubbed his forehead helplessly. Recently, his ideological education teachers had been complaining that most Uchiha, young and old, had dangerously dangerous ideas, and if they weren't careful, they would go astray. It was frustrating for them. But Uzumaki-jun didn't know what to do. In the ninja world, even 5 or 6-year-old kids have their own independent thoughts, and some have even started killing people. So, this group of kids who aren't raised with a red influence of the Land of Whirlpools can only have their minds slowly corrected. The most important thing now is Uchiha Fugaku. Uzumaki-jun glanced at Uchiha Fugaku sitting at the head table of the Uchiha clan, not far away. According to Maya Shiraman's report, although Uchiha Fugaku had been going to work recently, his whole demeanor seemed gloomy. Therefore, Uzumaki-jun suspected that he had depression. This is no small matter. If not handled carefully, it could potentially lead to death. But now, the only thing we can try is to educate him with love and bonds. Uzumaki-jun shook his head helplessly. And then, after the clan had finished his speech, It was his turn, the Academy Dean, to award diplomas and awards to the outstanding graduates. After all, he was still the dean of this academy. Chapter 2, Nothing More. Chapter 219 Uzumaki Ninja Republic. Nakazawa. Miyagi and Uzumaki soon slowly read through the list of outstanding graduates given to him by the Uzumaki clan chief, but when he read this name, it sounded so familiar. Wasn't this the son of the police chief of the land of whirlpools? If Uzumaki soon remembered correctly, wasn't this kid a bit of a brat? How did he become an outstanding graduate? He glanced at the patriarch's table of the Blood Pond clan. Miyagi was happily pulling the hand of the hermit Aob beside him, laughing loudly. Haha, see this? This is my son, see this? But Aob disdainfully slapped Miyagi's hand away. As a wealthy man from the land of whirlpools, he disdained to chat with someone burdened with hundreds of millions of yen in debt. Especially that face, it made him a little unhappy. Don't worry, maybe your daughter will get in too? Miyagi didn't mind, cheerfully putting his arm around Shinhaku Aofeng's shoulder again, saying, oh, by the way, it seems like she won't be able to get in again after this graduation. That's a bit of a pity. Miyagi said with a sigh, I wonder if she can apply to repeat a year. If so, your daughter still has a chance. HMPH, serves you Shinhaku clan right for showing off your wealth in front of me all the time. Shinhaku Aofeng turned her face away, took a deep breath, and comforted herself, telling herself not to be impulsive. Today was an important day in the land of whirlpools. She had to stay calm and not argue with a poor person. Then, she narrowed her eyes, smiled at Miyagi, and said calmly, have you paid off your debt? Damn it. Miyagi's happy expression instantly froze. On such an important day, can't we not talk about money? Just as he was about to speak, to further criticize the next generation of the Divine Crane clan for their incompetence and salvage some face. Divine Crane Knight B. Uzumaki soon called out another name. Divine Crane Blue B smiled and said leisurely, this is nothing to be proud of for our Divine Crane clan. It's just basic stuff. Unlike some people. Divine Crane Blue B shook his head with a sigh, this is all they have left to brag about. Serves you right for flaunting yourself in front of me just now. Now, his face turned red with anger. Keep it up, and never forget. Uzumaki soon said with a smile, you will be the pride of the Whirlpool Kingdom. Serve the people. Upon hearing this, Miyagi accepted the credentials handed to him by Prince Soon with his head held high and shouted loudly, I will definitely work hard. Uzumaki soon nodded in satisfaction upon seeing this. It seems that Miyagi has been well trained by his old man over the years. That expression, that posture, a perfect public servant. It seems they won't be so quick to kill their entire families anymore. Then, they proceeded to issue certificates to the next person. The land of whirlpools abolished ninja headbands, replacing them with graduation certificates from the original world, a red booklet with a whirlpool and the land of whirlpools first affiliated academy drawn on it, below which read, Uzumaki Ninja Republic. Since they wanted to forge a new path of socialism with Chinese characteristics unique to the land of whirlpools, there was no need to follow some of the ninja world's customs. I will work hard. Shinhaku Yorub excitedly accepted the certificate. I will definitely study hard and become a useful member of society. Uzumaki soon smiled and nodded. Then watched Shinhaku Yorub leave. Only one person remained. Looking at the list in his hand, a look of surprise appeared on his face. Then, he smiled and said, the last one. Zichang. Damn it. Hanzo of the Salamander sighed helplessly. Sure enough, arms dealers are all heartless. He bought so many weapons from the Akatsuki, placed so many orders, and this time he just wanted to buy on credit? Did they have to just slam the door and leave? What an ugly bunch of mouths. After such a long cooperative relationship, they wouldn't even give him credit. Wasn't this a lack of trust in Hanzo of the Salamander? He was, after all, the number one figure in the ninja world. Would a demigod of the ninja world do something untrustworthy and treacherous? That was clearly impossible. Sigh. Hanzo of the Salamander wore a bitter expression, looking at the intelligence report sent down from below. He shook his head helplessly. If things continued like this, the land of rain would truly be gone. But, is it really impossible to find any allies? Just then, there is. A faint voice rang out. Hanzo of the Salamander quickly put down his newspaper, looked around, and shouted, which coward is hiding here, too afraid to show themselves? Tisk tisk. A figure slowly emerged from the ground, looking at Hanzo of the Salamander with a mocking expression, and said, "It seems the land of rain isn't in dire straits yet. Our demigods of the ninja world still have quite the aura. Who exactly are you?" Hanzo of the Salamander frowned, looking at the dark figure that emerged from the ground, his eyes filled with wariness. He said, "You are definitely not human." "Never mind who I am," Zetsu said calmly. "Just know that I am the only one who can help the Rain Village right now." And, he really wasn't human. Hearing Zetsu's words, Hanzo of the Salamander fell silent, seemingly hesitating about something. "However, if we keep waiting like this, the land of rain will truly perish." Zetsu sneered, "You can't afford to wait." With the combined forces of the three great ninja villages, the land of rain's destruction was only a matter of time, not to mention the ever-watchful Cloud Village above. So, if it weren't for that red-haired brat asking him, who would bother with this? He was originally leading a group of villagers in praying for his mother. How did he end up doing this? And without any pay. He was miserable. "How do you plan to help the Rain Village?" Hanzo of the Salamander finally sighed and asked, "You alone aren't enough. My organization and I won't intervene," Zetsu said calmly. With his Jonin strength, if he went out to join the fun, he'd probably never see his mother again. "Your organization?" Hanzo of the Salamander frowned upon hearing this, and sneered, "If you won't intervene, how will you help? Just stand by and cheer? Our organization has its own methods, and you don't need to worry about how they are done," Zetsu said calmly. "Besides, the 5 great shinobi villages aren't of one mind. You just need to prepare your reward." Hearing this, Hanzo of the Salamander narrowed his eyes at Zetsu, then a cold smile appeared on his lips as he said calmly, "I hope you won't deceive me, otherwise I'll let you taste the consequences of deceiving the god of shinobi." Hanzo of the Salamander, "Tell me, how much reward do you want?" Now the Land of Rain had no other choice but to see what this mysterious organization was planning. "No other reward is needed," Zetsu shook his head, staring at Hanzo of the Salamander, and said expressionlessly, "We just need the iron ore of the Land of Rain." Chapter 1. This title was suggested by a reader. It sounds nice, so I'll use it. Chapter 220, Helping Jun to Feel Maternal Love Again. Mr. Madara. Uzumaki-jun casually grabbed the chair, smiled at Uchiha Mikoto beside him, and then asked, "How have you been in the land of whirlpools?" He hadn't expected Uchiha Mikoto to become Mr. Madara's assistant. He wondered how Uchiha Mikoto would react when she found out that the Madara in front of her was indeed her grandfather. She'd probably be quite surprised. After all, the ninja world believed that Uchiha Madara was long dead. Uchiha Mikoto looked at Uzumaki-jun, smiled and nodded, then poured a cup of tea and said gently, "Please have some tea." "Thank you." Uzumaki-jun took the tea, took a sip, and looked at Uchiha Madara, who was still leisurely basking in the sun. He had changed. He had become more like an old man, no longer the domineering Uchiha Madara he once was. "You go out first." Madara Uchiha opened his eyes, looked at Mikoto Uchiha, and said calmly, "There are still a few rats running around outside. Stop them for me. Don't let anyone in." Mikoto Uchiha was stunned for a moment after hearing this, and then, seeing Jun Uzumaki nod, she whispered, "I'll go down first." And Madara Uchiha saw Mikoto Uchiha's appearance and snorted coldly, saying calmly, "The Uchiha clan is getting worse with each generation. Apart from that temper, they haven't changed at all. There are still some good ones." Jun Uzumaki shook his head helplessly and said, "Now the head of the Uchiha clan has awakened the main Jakkyou Sharingan. It's just that Fugaku Uchiha's personality has become even more extreme." Main Jakkyou Sharingan. Madara's tone immediately lowered when he heard Jun Uzumaki's words, and he murmured, "Awakened it?" As someone who had awakened the main Jakkyou Sharingan, he certainly knew how difficult it was to awaken it. Tabarama Senju, that cunning fellow, might not be good at much else, but his research on the Sharingan was quite accurate. The Sharingan is an evil power. Power itself is neither good nor evil. Uzumaki-jun seemed to understand Madara's thoughts, sighed, and said, "But people are good and bad." At a time like this, what else could he do but offer empty platitudes? And he wasn't wrong. Look at the Akatsuki in the Naruto movies. Although they did bad things, their goal never changed, to make the ninja world feel pain and learn to cherish peace. It was a peace organization composed of the strongest terrorists in the ninja world. How contradictory. And look at Madara, Wasn't he also working for the peace of the ninja world? So power itself isn't good or bad, only, it depends on whether the person using it is out of their mind. However, HMPH. Uchiha Madara looked at Uzumaki-jun with disdain. He had dominated the ninja world for so many years, could he be changed by a few bowls of chicken soup? But thinking of the changes in the land of whirlpools, Madara sighed, his eyes sharp as he looked at Uzumaki-jun, and said, "What do you plan to do? Why did they recruit this kid in the first place? Wasn't it to help them collect the nine-tailed beasts, unleash the infinite Tsukuyomi, and bring peace to the entire ninja world? But now it seems, he has no intention of doing that at all. For the peace of the ninja world." Uzumaki-jun declared righteously, "My dream has never changed, to bring about change to the ninja world and achieve true peace. Only by overthrowing the old system and establishing a new red-themed ninja system can true peace be achieved. Therefore, the first step is to let Zetsu be the vanguard of the revolution, igniting a red flame in the ninja world. Moreover, the training of ninjas in the ninja world has always been centered on profit, emphasizing how to complete missions faster, kill more perfectly, and obtain higher bounties. This fundamentally shows that the ninjas' initial intentions were flawed. The land of whirlpools abandoned the old ninja system and established an academy system open to the public, aiming to fundamentally eliminate the old ninja system and allow graduates to choose careers more suited to them. Whether it's manual labor or military service, these are all excellent options. Therefore, after graduation, students engage in community service, such as sweeping streets, assisting police in maintaining order, and inspecting public facilities. These jobs are unpaid, designed to change the traditional ninja mindset and encourage ninjas to integrate into the community from the outset, rather than working for profit. This method aims to gradually erode the class distinction between ninjas and ordinary civilians. However, Madara Uchiha sighed softly and said, "Although I don't know what you intend to do, but the root cause of the ninja world's wars is the ninjas. If the generation of chakra cannot be fundamentally eliminated, then true peace in the ninja world will never be achieved. Did it Hashiram as everyone contributes a little love initially succeed in achieving peace in the ninja world? But, without the god of shinobi suppressing the ninja world, it ultimately descended into chaos again. Although the land of whirlpools is doing quite well now, with ninjas and civilians living in peace, who can guarantee what will happen in the future?" Thinking of this, Madara Uchiha unconsciously smiled and murmured, "I wonder what Hashirama would think if he saw this? Here, he has kids who like him. Unlike in Konoha, where every civilian hates him. If Hashirama were here, perhaps he would be more popular than Hashirama, because he has become a professor. This time, he won." "Sister, what are you doing here?" Konan, along with Yohiko and Nagato, looked at Mikado Uchiha curiously and asked, "Where is this? Did they follow Lord Jun here? Where is Lord Jun? Why is there a lady with long, straight black hair coming out of the house? Should they tell Kushina?" Konan's face showed a conflicted expression. She didn't know what would happen if she told Kushina. But, it certainly wouldn't be anything good. "What are you doing here?" Uchiha Mikado asked with a smile, looking at the frog trio. "This is the teacher's dormitory." "Teacher's dormitory?" Konan looked at Uchiha Mikado curiously. "Are you a teacher, miss? How come she's even younger than Tobi-sensei? Could she be another one who got in through connections?" "No." Uchiha Mikado shook her head, smiling sweetly. "I'm just Professor Madara's assistant." "Are you students here? Professor Madara?" The frog trio exchanged glances, then shook their heads, saying, "We're not. We just saw Lord Sun and came over." So it wasn't what they thought. Luckily, they hadn't told Kushina yet. But the three little ones proudly raised their heads. "We're next year's freshmen." Uzumaki-san looked at Uchiha Madara speechlessly. He noticed that Uchiha Madara's character was slowly changing. Although he initially wanted Madara to be a teacher at the academy, but what would Zetsu's mother do if things continue like this? The filial son of 1,000 years has prepared for so many years, finally obtaining that pair of Rinnegan. If you give up, Zetsu will go crazy. But, right now, Uzumaki-jun can only smile at Madara. He absolutely cannot let Madara know that he already knows Zetsu's purpose, otherwise, Madara will go mad. "So, Boss Madara, take a good rest." Uzumaki-jun stood up and said with a smile, "I won't disturb your sunbathing. He'd better hurry up and slip away. And think about how to help the most filial son in the ninja world feel the warmth of maternal love again." Chapter 2, Still No Today. Chapter 221, Copied 50 times. The Land of Whirlpools. A labor camp. That concludes today's lesson. The Whirlpool Ninja teacher adjusted his glasses, looking at the group of Mist Ninja below, and said calmly, "Tonight's homework is to copy the 5th article in ideological construction, a moment of patience brings calm, and the 6th article, repaying evil with kindness, 10 times each. Copy with great power comes great responsibility from the Ninja Code of Conduct 15 times, and serve the people 20 times. There will be a check tomorrow morning." The Whirlpool Ninja teacher had barely finished speaking when the Mist Ninja below, who had been dozing off, suddenly trembled, dropping their pens on the table in shock. Their eyes widened, and they looked up in disbelief. So many. However. Bang! Bang! Seeing this, Teacher Uzumaki slammed his hand on the table, frowning as he said, "What are you glaring at? Look at yourselves, a bunch of ninjas with warped values. Why aren't you studying hard and trying to become better people? When you're released, you should be useful to the ninja world and the people. Those who haven't finished copying by tomorrow, do it 10 times over, and while you're at it, clean all the toilets in the camp. Consider it social labor reform." Crack. What's wrong with Juzo Biwa? Are you upset? Teacher Uzumaki stared at the second to left Kurigakure ninja in the first row, frowning, and said, "So angry you broke your pen?" Reporting, "Teacher, no." Juzo Biwa calmly picked up the broken pen and said, "I'm used to holding a sword, holding a pen feels a bit strange. Damn it, I'm one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, I've always only ever used a sword to kill people, when have I ever held a pen? And, this is 55 times. Will they even get any sleep tonight? But, since that's the case," the Uzumaki ninja teacher nodded understandingly and said, "Everyone's used to carrying swords, so suddenly assigning so much homework is a bit overwhelming. So tonight." Just as the Mist Ninjas thought the teacher understood their predicament and was about to reduce the homework. "Then we'll double the amount for each article," the Uzumaki ninja teacher said with a smile, "Copy more, that way everyone can get used to it faster." Instantly, the entire classroom erupted in groans. All the Mist Ninjas glared at Biwa Juzo. If it weren't for you, would they have to copy it over 100 times? However, Biwa Juzo glared back fiercely. He could take on 10 ordinary jonin, and they dared to show their superiors such disrespect? No, it's just over 100 times. He could finish it by staying up all night. Ninjas never fear any challenge, whether it's killing people or copying books. Juzo Biwa sighed in disappointment, shook his head, and muttered, "This year's jonin are no good. Konoha. Don't worry, everyone, your children will return." Danzo shouted loudly at the noisy villagers below, "Konoha doesn't belong to just 1 or 2 people, it belongs to everyone here. So your children went to protect Konoha? They are honorable, they are respectable. As their relatives, you should be proud, because," Danzo shouted passionately, clenching his fist, "you all contributed to protecting Konoha. Perhaps some may have sacrificed themselves while protecting Konoha. But I believe they had no regrets, because they sacrificed themselves to protect Konoha. For them, my heart is filled with the same sorrow and joy as yours. They are all heroes of Konoha. So please rest assured." Danzo wiped away tears from his eyes and shouted, "As a senior advisor to Konoha, I assure you, the Hokage will absolutely not let these heroic families shed blood and tears. Trust me, our village's Hokage. He will absolutely not let us down." Danzo looked at the villagers below, who had calmed down, and breathed a sigh of relief. The recent setbacks in Konoha, with its heavy casualties, had caused discontent among some villagers. Although the conflict between the Senju and Uchiha clans had temporarily quelled the unrest, the villagers were starting to feel anxious again. "Hiruzen." A fleeting smile crossed Danzo's lips. "You still want to push me out to quell the public anger?" Did he really think he was still the same Danzo who would punish those who raised the problems if he couldn't solve them? He had changed. During his time in the land of whirlpools, after reading a few books, he understood that simply taking the blame wouldn't make him a village chief. He, Danzo, would slowly win over the villagers with love. "This afternoon, I'll send out Root to do some practical things for the villagers," Danzo murmured. That book had some merit, more action, less empty talk. He'd also promote his image as someone who cared for the villagers. "Everyone, don't gather here anymore." Coming back to his senses, he looked at the villagers below and said, "Trust me, our village's Hokage will definitely give you an answer. So, If anything happens, please find the Hokage. Kirigakure. Hasn't the executioner's blade and Samehoda been summoned back yet? Mizuki Joy put down the documents in her hand, frowned, and looked at the Mizukage's assistant in front of her, saying with a sigh, as expected of the Uzumaki clan, famous throughout the ninja world for their sealing techniques. Indeed, the executioner's blade and Samehoda are probably sealed by the Uzumaki clan. The Mizukage's assistant sighed and said, right now, they can't think of any way to break the Uzumaki clan seal. A hesitant expression appeared on his face, but he still decided to ask, and the conditions of the land of whirlpools. Kirigakure doesn't have any money right now. However, before the Mizukage's assistant could finish speaking, the Mizukage said helplessly, they're asking for 10 billion, 2 billion right away. Kirigakure hasn't even assembled a fleet yet, so they simply can't pay that much? Why didn't Kirigakure participate in the partition of the Land of Rain this time? Wasn't it because they suffered too heavy losses in the first battle and could only recuperate now? But, the Mizukage's assistant said after hearing this, in that case, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist won't be able to gather all their members. I will think of another way. Mizuki Seiichi nodded and said, continue to send ninjas to condemn the land of whirlpools and make them return the ninjas and swords of Kirigakure. As for the money, wait a little longer. This matter must be resolved no matter what. If the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist become the 5 ninja swordsmen during his tenure as Mizukage, how could he face the first Mizukage? So, no matter what, the swords of the mist must be brought back. Understood. The Mizukage's assistant nodded helplessly and said, I will continue to arrange for people. But, without money, how can they get the land of whirlpools to release the people? Chapter 1. Chapter 222 The Land of Whirlpools at 2 or 3 in the morning. Have you ever seen the land of whirlpools at 3 or 4 in the morning? They, the mist ninja captured by the land of whirlpools have. Damn it, we've only copied it 60 odd times. One mist ninja angrily threw down his pen, rubbing his wrist. He wasn't even this tired from killing people. I'm not copying anymore. Even if I die here in the land of whirlpools, stabbed to death by this pen, I won't copy another word. As soon as he finished speaking, the entire dormitory of mist ninjas started to jeer, shouting, you're right, we're not copying anymore. Copy what? We only know how to kill people. That's right, why should the whirlpool ninjas make us copy books? However, a mist ninja next to him, still engrossed in copying and not joining the fray, slowly spoke up, if we don't finish, we'll have to copy 10 times more tomorrow. The dormitory fell silent again, then they picked up their pens and continued copying. They couldn't escape. Their chakra was sealed, and a net of heaven and earth was spread around them. Where could they run? If their chakra hadn't been sealed, wouldn't they have been less exhausted if they just created more clones to help? It's all Juzo's fault, a mist ninja sighed, a resentful expression on his face, and muttered, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have had to copy so much. And clatter. Juzo stood up, expressionless, and walked towards the restroom. Copying books for so long had left him a little tired. In all his years as a ninja, he'd never felt this exhausted as he had during his time in the land of whirlpools. Shut up, a mist ninja beside him said calmly. Lord Juzo has his reasons. Glancing at the silent Juzo, he breathed a sigh of relief. After all, Juzo was their superior. So, there were some things a ninja couldn't say. Besides, they hadn't completed the Mizukage's orders, and this predicament wasn't Juzo's fault. Who would have thought the land of whirlpools would be so shameless, resorting to ganging up on them? Trust the Mizukage, they won't abandon us. The Kirigakure ninja sighed and said, in the end, we'll definitely be able to leave here. Kirigakure would never stand by and watch 2 ninja swords fall into the hands of the land of whirlpools, so, no matter what, they still have hope. Biwa Juzo looked at himself in the mirror and murmured, I've been staying up late these past few days, and my eyes are a bit dark. It has to be said, life as prisoners of the land of whirlpools is pretty good. They have meat at every meal, and their lodgings are much better than the dilapidated wooden houses in other villages. It's just, having to attend classes and do homework every day. It's really not something someone who's wielded a sword for over 10 years is used to. And lately, he's noticed that his men are starting to get restless, even ignoring him, their captain. The morale is low, it's hard to lead the team. Biwa Juzo sighed inwardly, saying helplessly. He didn't know when the villagers would come to ransom them. This mission failed, and back in the village, someone will definitely have to take the blame, Either him or Sujetsu Fuguki, especially since they both lost their ninja swords. I wonder how defection goes? A self-deprecating smile appeared on Biwajuzo's face. The Land of Whirlpools treats rogue ninjas quite well. Like the prisoner of war camp commander, he was supposedly a spy from another village, but after reforming and joining the Land of Whirlpools, he's now living a happy life, even married with a daughter. So, what exactly does the Land of Whirlpools want to do? Attract ninjas from other villages? Biwajuzo murmured. I might have to tell the Mizukage before returning to the village. Even absorbing rogue ninjas, the Land of Whirlpools is planning something big. And everyone's attention is focused on the battlefield in the Land of Rain, unaware that a small country is slowly rising in power here. Thinking about this, I'm pretty good looking too. Looking in the mirror, Biwajuzo smirked, revealing what he thought was a friendly smile, instantly exposing his sharp teeth. Why can't I find a girlfriend? Even a rogue ninja can live a happy life now. He's truly resentful. Looking out the window at the sky, Biwajuzo muttered, it's almost dawn. I should go back and finish copying my homework. Otherwise, who knows what problems might arise tomorrow. Rain Country. Our mission is to take a shortcut around here. An Iwe ninja commander pointed to the map on the table, glanced at the surrounding Iwe ninja captains, and said seriously, to join forces with the Konoha ninjas and encircle Rain Village. To achieve our goal in one fell swoop. 2. Cough cough. To save the millions of people of the Rain Country. Then, everyone can sit down and divide the spoils. Hearing the commander's words, everyone smiled, immersed in the joyful atmosphere of returning to the village to buy houses and get married after the victory. Lord Ishigaki, regarding cooperating with Konoha. An Iwe ninja captain raised his hand, hesitated for a moment, and finally decided to ask, what if we fall into Konoha's trap? After all, Konoha. They were capable of harming even their own ninja village's people, let alone the Iwe ninja. Hearing the Iwe ninja captain's words, the Iwe commander frowned immediately and said sharply, we are now in an alliance. Konoha wouldn't do such a thing. Konoha, as the head of the 5 great ninja villages, the village founded by the god of shinobi, certainly had that much magnanimity. But the Uchiha. The Iwe ninja captain opened his mouth again, seemingly wanting to say something, but seeing the commander's sharp eyes, he sighed and replied, yes. No matter what, the Uchiha were an obstacle Konoha couldn't avoid. What, the Uchiha clan head personally taking action? Did they really think their spies in Konoha didn't know that Danzo, the advisor to Konoha, led the Anbu to the Uchiha clan, and then, brought out a bunch of corpses? And at that time, Danzo, the advisor to Konoha, even shouted, on the orders of the Hokage, would release. An Iwe ninja lowered his head, his eyes gleaming strangely when no one could see him, and said calmly, perhaps the last male member of the Senju clan had already awakened would release? How could he not have awakened it after knowing that his entire clan was dead? So, Konoha is just hiding it from us. Konoha. Jiraiya-sensei. A blonde-haired child looked at the white-haired youth in front of him, holding a book in his hands, his face flushed, and asked, did you give me the wrong book? This book. He couldn't understand it at all. Ahem. Jiraiya glanced at the book, coughed twice, and said, well done, Minato. I only used this book to test your ninja integrity, and I didn't expect you to actually do it at such a young age. I also obtained this book from someone else. Jiraiya took the book with a serious expression and said, this book isn't suitable for you to read right now, I'm just examining it with a critical eye. No wonder he couldn't find it all night, it turned out they gave him the wrong one. He had searched for this book for a long time before finally buying it, and he hadn't even finished reading it yet. He, Jiraiya, aspired to become a great writer, so this book was just for reference, to fully prepare for his writing career. Very good. Jiraiya smiled gently and patted Minato's head. This is the book I'm giving you. This was meticulously compiled by the great Toad Sage Jiraiya over a very long period of time. It contains many of my insights into ninjutsu and chakra training. It will definitely be helpful to you. Jiraiya quickly hid the book Minato handed him, then took out another book and said with a smile, remember to read it carefully. Thank you, teacher. Minato took the book, opened it to the first page, and, seeing that he hadn't picked up the wrong one, said excitedly, I will definitely work hard and will never let Jiraiya-sensei down. Yes. Jiraiya smiled with satisfaction, nodded, and said, you will become an excellent ninja. Since there's no danger tomorrow, You can come to the battlefield with me and show me my strength. Naoki will also be going. As a future pillar of society, how can you not experience the atmosphere of war? Don't worry, with the strength of the Toad Sage, I will definitely be able to protect you. So, Jiraiya shuffled his hands, looking embarrassed, and said, could you teach me that no-hand seal ninjutsu? Cough, cough, I don't mean to steal it, I just want to see if I can help you improve it. That ninjutsu is quite good. Minato almost nodded, tempted, after hearing Jiraiya's words, but this ninjutsu wasn't developed by me, a red-haired man taught it to me. If Jiraiya wants to learn it, I need to ask him. After all, it was someone else's ninjutsu, so whether he could teach it to Jiraiya wasn't his decision. He also had some ideas about the Rasengan, so he'd ask Jiraiya when they met. Chapter 2. 2 chapters again. Chapter 223 Politicians. The Land of Rain. A decisive battle to seal the victory. Naoki, you and Minato, listen up. Jiraiya said seriously, looking at the two brats before him. The battlefield is ever-changing, a moment's carelessness can cost you your life. Therefore, on the battlefield, besides your trusted comrades, no one else can be trusted. Although it was a bit inappropriate to say this to these kids now, since they were already on the battlefield, they needed to understand how terrifying compassion was for a ninja. Countless ninjas lost their lives every year because of compassion. So, this had to be made clear, otherwise, he would regret it later. I know, Jiraiya-san, Naoki waved his hand impatiently. My father already told me, and the Ninja Academy has explained it too, so don't bother me. Besides, I've been on the battlefield for so long, why haven't I seen my father and uncles? Where did the Senju clan members go? Ahem. Jiraiya coughed twice, turning to look at Orochimaru who was gazing at the sky beside him. He could only force a smile and say, your sister will be here in a few days, and then she'll take you to the Senju clan. A wave of helplessness washed over him. How was he going to tell Tsunade then? He patted his chest. Should he pat himself with more steel plates? He wondered if the plates could withstand Tsunade's monstrous strength. Sisters coming? Naoki hesitated upon hearing Jiraiya's words, unsure whether to tell his sister, she already had a boyfriend. And it seemed Jiraiya's unrequited love was futile. His sister wouldn't like him. Don't worry, Jiraiya, Naoki sighed, speaking with an air of maturity, I support you. Huh? Jiraiya blinked, puzzled. What was he saying? Oh, it's nothing. Naoki, noticing Orochimaru's subtle glance, said with a shifty look in his eyes, I just feel that Jiraiya is still the best to me. He brings me cough books and takes me to see cough. Nothing. I didn't say anything. What was he saying? Did he see that Orochimaru's eyes were all strange? Even Minato's eyes. Did he know something too? Cough. Jiraiya coughed twice, patting Naoki's shoulder solemnly. It seems you've finished reading the books on ninjutsu I gave you. Very good. Don't run around today. Stay with me and Orochimaru. We'll protect you if anything happens. HMPH. Naoki pouted, dissatisfied, I'm very strong. Now that he's on the battlefield, he'll let the name of the grandson of the god of shinobi resound throughout the ninja world. It's time for the name Naoki to spread throughout the ninja world. Orochimaru. Ninjas never fear war. Orochimaru licked his lips and said, don't listen to that idiot Jiraiya, go. Hiding behind others will never make you a strong person. So, I will make some rain ninja your opponents. Orochimaru smiled at Minato and Naoki, narrowing his eyes dangerously, if you're not careful, you might die. To become a strong person, you must have the corresponding capacity. Relying on others for protection will not make you a strong person, so Jiraiya's words should not have been said openly. Otherwise, what if there is no pressure? Pressure is also a factor in a ninja's growth. Even if you want to protect someone, don't say it out loud. You can do it secretly behind their backs. Yes. Minato and Naoki shivered and nodded in response, we are not afraid. January, Konoha year 33. In this new year, something shocking happened again in the ninja world. The last male member of the Senju clan, the grandson of the god of shinobi, Naoki, sacrificed himself on the battlefield of the Land of Rain. Konoha was instantly shocked, condemning Iwagakure for breaking their promise and betraying their ally during the war. In grief, the Hokage declared war on Iwagakure, and the brief alliance shattered instantly. Hiruzen Sarutobi slammed his fist on the table in fury, shouting, Iwagakure and that big-nosed Inoki, They deserve to die. Naoki was Konoha's future god of ninja. Now, declare war on Iwagakure immediately, Hiruzen Sarutobi said coldly. They must give Konoha an explanation. I'll arrange it, Kahoru Udatane said, equally furious. This is blatant disregard for Konoha. Naoki was the hope of the entire village. Hiruzen Sarutobi took a drag of his pipe to calm himself, but his face remained grim as he said, Lady Mito and Tsunade. Do they know? Kahoru Udatane paused, then sighed. Tsunade isn't fully informed, she probably already knows. As for Lady Mito, we haven't told her yet. Sigh. Hiruzen Sarutobi sadly put down his pipe, saying helplessly, Lady Mito is getting old. If she finds out, her health might not be able to hold up. But, no matter what, Naoki is Lady Mito's grandson. Kahoru Udatane hesitated before saying, we have no right to keep it from her. Let's wait a few days. Hiruzen Sarutobi pondered for a moment, then sighed, I'll tell her myself in a few days. The Nine Tails cannot be allowed to have any mishaps, so preparations must be made. I wonder how that girl is doing these past few days. Uzumaki-jun looked at the ninja world daily in his hand and sighed softly. Naoki, in the end, met his end at such a young age. Although this was Naoki's fate, if he hadn't been pushing things along behind the scenes, Naoki might not have died. But for the sake of the land of whirlpools, this ninja world had to be thrown into chaos. Otherwise, if everyone's attention were focused on the land of whirlpools, its fate might be the same as the land of rain. Perhaps his power was already enough to crush the ninja world, but he didn't want outsiders to think that the land of whirlpools' strength relied solely on him, nor did he want the people of the land of whirlpools to depend too much on him. After all, if the land of whirlpools wanted to truly rise, demonstrating its power to the ninja world was essential, so, a future battle was inevitable. But winning alone was different from winning with a collective effort of the entire land of whirlpools. He didn't want to become a second Hashirama Senju, so he had to become a politician that others found disgusting. Actually, I really want to be a good person, but he had no choice but to do so now. Uzumaki-jun put down his newspaper, shaking his head helplessly. He shouldn't think about it too much now. There were still some unfinished business matters in the land of whirlpools, and besides, the land of rain is about to be engulfed in war again. What is Kokuzu still doing there? He hasn't returned after so many days. Does he have a lot of business in the land of rain? Chapter 1. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224. This alliance, or not? The Land of Rain. Damn it. Tsunade angrily grabbed Jiraiya by the collar, her fists raining down on his face, shouting, Why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you protect him? Why did you let him come to the battlefield? Naoki. He's just a child. And Jiraiya. I'm sorry. His face, swollen like a pig's head, was unrecognizable. But seeing Tsunade's current fury, he decided not to retaliate. Otherwise, with his Toad Sage power, who could possibly beat him? He'd teach her a lesson in no time. But, Tsunade, that's enough, don't be like this. A gentle man with purple hair embraced Tsunade from behind, speaking softly. Jiraiya didn't mean it. Crash, the sound of a heart breaking. Jiraiya clutched his chest. He felt the pain in his heart was far greater than the wounds on his face. Dan. Tsunade casually tossed Jiraiya aside, turned around and hugged Dan, crying, My clansmen, my brother. They're all gone. They're all gone. Don't cry. Dan stroked Tsunade's long golden hair, comforting her, I believe they'll be doing well in paradise. And you still have me. I'll always be with you. Bang. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya collapsed to the ground, tears streaming involuntarily from his swollen eyes. Why did I have to see this? He'd only spent a few months with a bunch of toads, hadn't he? How come his childhood sweetheart was someone else's girlfriend the moment he came out? What use was this toad to him? Jiraiya, how are you? Dan reached out to Jiraiya, but seeing Jiraiya's appearance, he was immediately terrified. You're crying. Tsunade didn't mean it. Should I get you some medicine? No need. Jiraiya wiped his tears, stood up, and gave a cheerful smile. This little injury is nothing to me, the Toad Sage. It's just that his heart aches a bit. Dan looked at Jiraiya's face, which looked like a pig's head, still filled with tears. It looked painful no matter how you looked at it. But, bang! Tsunade punched Jiraiya in the face again, saying fiercely, "Orochimaru?" Seeing Tsunade's reaction, Dan decided to wait before giving Jiraiya medicine, otherwise, it would be a waste. Let Tsunade vent her anger first. Hey, inside. Jiraiya gasped. Why did they keep hitting his face? Could they hide his body? He didn't even know if his handsome face was disfigured, and whether any girls would still like him then? Orochimaru, Jiraiya pointed behind him, hesitated, sighed, and said, "He's been staying inside ever since Naoki's accident." Orochimaru is heartbroken too. Jiraiya saw his best friend cry that day, the only time he'd ever seen him cry. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Tsunade fell silent, then said fiercely, "It's all your fault, all your fault." Tears welled up again. The Senju clan, Naoki, why did this happen? Why did this happen? She wondered how Grandma Mito was doing. Why don't you hit me a few more times? Jiraiya stood up, cheerfully leaning closer to Tsunade. A few hits will make me feel much better. Get away. Tsunade pushed Jiraiya away, coldly saying, "Get out of here." She knew Jiraiya was also heartbroken, but to comfort the three of them, he was always such a jerk. Alright. Jiraiya took 2 steps back, a smile on his face, and said, "I'll go out first. As for Orochimaru, you." However, before Jiraiya could finish speaking, "Get out." Tsunade roared. "Get out, I'm leaving right now." Jiraiya quickly walked out of the tent. Watching Jiraiya's departing figure, Kato Dan said with a gentle smile, "Jiraiya is such a good person. He's always such a bastard." Tsunade turned her face away, staring inside. Although she was angry and sad inside, right now. As Naoki's teacher, Orochimaru must be even more heartbroken. After hesitating for a moment, she decided to go in and see. After seeing Jiraiya's playful face, especially those few punches, she felt much better. This was ultimately the fate of a ninja. She knew this when she became a ninja. It's just, why did the entire Senju clan die? Just as Tsunade went inside. Tsunade. Orochimaru came out, looking at Tsunade expressionlessly, and said, "If you want to do it, then do it. It's not Jiraiya's fault, it's all because of me. If it weren't for him, Naoki might have stayed by their side, and this wouldn't have happened." Seeing Orochimaru like this, Tsunade raised her fist, and finally, turned around and hugged Dan, crying, "Jiraiya-sensei." Minato looked at Jiraiya's back, especially the way he wiped away his tears, and he knew that Jiraiya-sensei was still very sad inside. He was only smiling so that others wouldn't be sad too. Jiraiya-sensei was, comforting everyone in his own way. Oh. Jiraiya turned around and looked at Minato, showing a self-satisfied expression, and said, "It's Minato." But his face was so swollen that he couldn't see anything. "Who beat him up?" Minato exclaimed. "Jiraiya-sensei, He didn't know what to say. It was too scary. If it weren't for the clothes and the voice, he wouldn't have recognized Jiraiya-sensei. "I did this myself," Jiraiya said cheerfully. "I suddenly wanted a different look, so I did it myself." Then, he patted Minato on the shoulder and left. As a teacher, he didn't want Minato to see him like this. Jiraiya-sensei is truly amazing. Minato watched Jiraiya's dashing figure and sighed. Jiraiya-sensei is also very sad inside. Otherwise, why would he beat himself up? "How many of these bladed weapons does your Akatsuki have?" Inoki frowned at the masked man in front of him and asked, "How long will it take to get them?" "As many as you need," Kokuzu said in a deep voice. "They'll be delivered within 7 days." Kokuzu still didn't understand. He was still wandering around the land of rain. How come the alliance he just formed has already started fighting? "What if I want to hire your Akatsuki?" Inoki said, narrowing his eyes. "No matter the price, our Iwagakure village can afford it." "Sorry, no one in our Akatsuki will intervene in any war," Kokuzu said calmly. "We are a peace organization." "What a peace? You're selling weapons and you're talking to me about peace?" But, hearing they wouldn't participate in the war, Inoki felt a bit relieved. After all, the Rinnegan and someone who had fought the god of shinobi. Who knew what might happen if they appeared on the battlefield? And he didn't know why the Eastern commander had suddenly lost his mind, attacking Konoha for no reason. Didn't he know they were still allies? Now, The reputation of Iwagakure was ruined. In that case, I hope the weapons can be delivered as soon as possible, Inoki said. After all, time waits for no one. Konoha had already declared war on Iwagakure. So, Iwagakure also needed to prepare. Since they killed them, so be it. They were still members of the Senju clan, after all. What if they really awakened would release? Iwagakure feared no war. Now let Konoha see their will of stone. Unyielding, unshakable. The will of stone left to them by the first Tsuchikage. Chapter 2. Lately, I've been writing papers, researching, and writing novels, and my eyes are killing me today. They're a bit swollen, probably from staring at the computer for too long and overusing them. They're still not better. Also, all I did was get a recommendation, so why are so many people coming to criticize me these past 2 days? And the criticisms are practically praising me. Even I think I can become a god just by changing the system and fixing the beginning. Otherwise, why are so many people saying this book is ruined? That its success was bought? It's practically praising me. I can honestly say I have no money, I can't afford to hire online trolls, and I haven't even done any promotion. So, can we find another way to criticize? And let's make a rule, any negative reviews will stay for 1 day, then be deleted. After all, I want more people to read this book so I can get royalties to hire online trolls. Then you can keep criticizing it? Chapter 225. January of Konoha Year 32. The alliance between Konoha and Iwagakure broke down. Later that month, Tsunagakure declared war on Konoha. I disagree, Chiao stood up angrily and said, we are allies with Konoha now, there's no need to go to war with them. The villagers are living in poverty, and then there are those weapons. So much money was spent. If we fight on 2 fronts, the village's situation will become even more difficult. However, advisor Chiao, this war is inevitable. The Kazakage looked at Chiao and said calmly, it was precisely because of the large number of weapons we purchased that I declared war on Konoha. If we win, everything will be restored. But Konoha is too strong. Chiao slammed her hand on the table, took a deep breath, and said earnestly, Tsunagakure is no match for them, especially since they went to war with their ally without authorization. If this continues, Tsunagakure's reputation will be ruined. This is treachery. How? The Kazakage sneered disdainfully, the relationship between villages is only based on interests. Since war can benefit Tsunagakure, why not go to war? Moreover, how can the affairs of ninjas be considered treachery? I see absolutely nothing that benefits the village, Kazakage. Chiao sighed inwardly and said helplessly, I only see loss and death. Then she slammed the door and left. She knew, the third Kazakage had gone mad. Those weapons had clouded his judgment, Tsunagakure couldn't possibly fight Konoha with them. Did he realize? Konoha was far richer than Tsunagakure. Would they just buy them? Sister. Ebizo, his head bandaged, chased after her, looking at the furious Chiao, and said helplessly, he's already the Kazakage, so you should watch your words, sister. Sorry, I know. Chiao sighed, saying helplessly, but declaring war on Konoha? Sigh. I don't think it's a good idea. Since the Kazakage has done this, he must have his reasons. Sister, you should go back and check on Sasori. Ebizo comforted her, Sasori is currently learning puppetry, he's the future of the village. As for other matters, we don't need to worry about that. Sasori. Hearing her grandson's name, Chiao smiled kindly and said, he's quite clever. I heard from Chira that Sasori can already assemble simple puppets. Foolish. The Kazakage watched Chiao leave and sneered, it's precisely because Konoha is too strong that I declared war. Otherwise, how could Tsunagakure catch up with Konoha? No money, no land, how could they catch up? And they didn't even knock, barging into the Kazakage's office without permission. This is blatant disrespect for him, the Kazakage. Your son is hopeless, and yet he's still so arrogant. How? The Kazakage smirked, looking at the Sans ninja list on the table, muttering, I heard Chira is also on the battlefield. Since that's the case, he'd send him to the Konoha battlefield. Since you're so unwilling to fight Konoha, then, let your son go. Rain Country. Hanzo of the Salamander had something on his mind, unsure whether to say it or not. This alliance of the 3 great ninja villages has already broken down, yet they still want to fight Rain Village? Isn't this utterly disrespectful? This is simply outrageous. Hanzo of the Salamander sighed helplessly, saying, Tell the Rain Ninja to be on their guard. These 3 great ninja villages have no intention of withdrawing. It seems they still hope to destroy and divide Rain Village. But this suits him perfectly. Now that the 3 great ninja villages have dispersed their forces, the Rain Village, relying solely on its large arsenal of bladed weapons, has a good chance of victory. Therefore, no matter what, our Rain Village must win. Hanzo of the Salamander stood up, looking at the Rain Ninja before him, and said, "Only in this way will the land of Rain have a future. The 6th great nation, the 6th great ninja village. He, Hanzo of the Salamander, is the one who can bring hope to the land of Rain. Cloud Village." So, a Cloud Ninja asked, "Should we retreat now?" Originally, they hadn't planned to join the Rain Village conflict. After all, the battlefield was too far away, and Konoha had suffered heavy losses, so there was no need to continue coercing them. But now, plans can't keep up with changes. Not long after the alliance, the 3 great ninja villages were fighting again. Should they join in and take advantage? It's not clear yet. The Cloud Ninja commander shook his head and said, "I've already inquired with Lord Rakage, and it's estimated that today." However, before he could finish speaking, chirp! A hawk's cry rang out. The commander smiled and said, "It's here." Sure enough, a carrier hawk flew in and perched on the table in front of him. The commander took the Rakage's letter, opened it, and examined it carefully, his eyes narrowing immediately. "What's wrong?" A Cloud Ninja, seeing the commander's expression, asked curiously, "What are the Rakage's plans?" "Pass down the order, remain stationed." The commander pulverized the letter with his lightning release, saying calmly, "The Rakage has new orders. We are to cooperate with Konoha, the land of whirlpools. The vitality and chakra of these cells are simply too strong." The Grand Elder pointed to the cells Uzumaki-jun had given him, saying, "Ordinary organisms simply cannot withstand them. After so many animal experiments, no animal could accept them. Regardless of the species, every animal injected with these cells invariably exploded and died. These cells were completely incompatible with the cells of ordinary organisms." "So that's how it is?" Uzumaki-jun nodded, muttering, "Only the Uchiha clan's bloodline can withstand Hashirame's bloodline? The Senju and Uchiha clan's karmic ties have been intertwined for so long, it's practically ingrained in their blood. No wonder Uchiha Shin was able to inherit the Uchiha surname. He could not only transplant a Sharingan but also inject Hashirame's cells. It seems I need to find other Senju and Uchiha clan bloodlines to study and see if I can find anything. It's also time to give all the public officials in the land of whirlpools a full-scale health check." Uzumaki-jun narrowed his eyes, a slight smile appearing on his lips, and muttered, "And have their blood tested while we're at it." Moreover, a special substance was found in this cell. The Grand Elder looked at the cell before him with a mesmerizing gaze, as if looking at a secret treasure, and said, "It's different from ordinary chakra. It doesn't seem like wood-release chakra either." Hearing the Grand Elder's words, Uzumaki-jun was taken aback and immediately frowned. "Could it be Ashura's chakra? Any discoveries?" Uzumaki soon asked. "No," the Grand Elder shook his head, saying regretfully, "That substance is practically alive. We're completely helpless against it for now." "Never mind, let's not talk about this." The Grand Elder withdrew from his regret, a slight smile appearing on his lips, and said, "The reason I called you here wasn't because of this, but rather another new invention." Chapter 1. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.